Let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna call the meeting to order today for our council budget work session. Dr. Martha Robinson is running a few minutes late, but the reason she wanted to come is first, council needs to know who the audit chairman is, since we're gonna be working closely with the budget committee, so we also wanna be working closely with the audit committee. This is the job description for what has been placed for the internal auditor. So council, you have that copy. The internal auditor, we have 2 to 4 good candidates. I believe that Ms. Merriweather is setting up interviews. Would you like to address any of that?
Sure. So the audit committee received a rubric and selected 2 candidates that they would like to interview. So they'll actually interview them this Tuesday. We confirmed that before I came in. So hopefully we'll have an opportunity to hear from those candidates and move forward in the process. But that's where we are.
Just checking to see if she can, just wanted council to have that. I've emailed it to you, but I wanted you to have it. This is gonna be essential to making sure that our internal auditor comes back and talks with the audit committee. And we will stay on track with whoever fills that position to make sure that they are filling the job responsibilities. Kelsey, do you have anything further that you'd like to point out?
No, I don't. I think you kind of mentioned most of it. You know, we've kind of developed this with some new parameters. We've established some periodic and quarterly check-ins, like every 90 days, and then after 6 months of employment. So that'll give the audit committee a good opportunity to investigate and check performance as we go through this position. So this position.
And we really want to focus that it's not as much to, when you hear audit, you get kind of scared, but it is to make us more productive, and that's what we're looking for, to be more productive and hold costs down. So is there any questions about internal auditor position?
No.
Larry, did you?
On this, did we vote on this in the meeting?
Yeah, about 3, yes, sir.
Okay. I thought something had been taken out yet.
It's still in there? Okay. Anything?
I don't want it in there, but it's still in there.
Okay, we'll bring that up in budget, in audit, excuse me, okay? All right, Richard has to leave at 2, so I would like for the mayor to, 3, excuse me. So I'd like for the mayor to start us out with our starting point and let you address that before we get into discussion.
Yes, I just want, kind of lay out, if we don't come to a conclusion today, still on the table that we utilize funds from this year, the little surplus to fund the raises, and then we don't have to turn in a budget to the state, correct me if I'm wrong, Vic, until August 31st. And so if we can't get to a consensus today, then that proposal's still out there. So it works kind of as a safety net so that we can have a special call meeting on 23rd for first reading, and then there's 25th. 23rd for first reading, so we can get it second reading in potentially by the end of the month, so we can have our employees will get their step raises starting July 1st. So I don't want to not create a sense of urgency on getting to a consensus, but there is that safety net still there, so we don't get to one today, and that'll be the ordinance that'll be drafted for you all, and the call meeting will go out tomorrow. So there is urgency, but I don't want you to feel like we got to stay here till 12 o'clock tonight to do that. There is that safety net there, so.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to go ahead before we get into discussions, what's being passed around.
It's a Tuesday.
What's being passed around is from Councilman Dodd that couldn't be with us today. So I'd like for you all to look at that, but I'd like to read it so his statement is there on record. Councilman Dodd, for the city budget work session, our community wants safe neighborhoods. We must address issues and pay raises for our staff, first responders, and all our city employees. Infrastructure, quality roads, strong communities, opportunities for youth, economic growth, and a city we can all be proud of. The challenge is this: how do we increase revenue, improve services without placing the entire burden on working families? The answer is growth, partnership, accountability, and smart investments. Cities can raise revenue in many ways without relying on only raising taxes. The best approach is usually a mix of economic growth, smart budgeting, partnerships, and targeted fees. Here are major ways a city can raise revenue. Business license and permits. Cities collect fee from business license, building permits, alcohol permits, vendor permits, and event permits. A tax increase is never popular, but maintaining a strong city, safe roads, and reliable emergency services requires stable funding. The goal is to invest responsibly now so the community does not face bigger problems and a higher cost later. So, thank you, Councilman Dodd. So with that, I would like for Richard to start our meeting, if that is okay, because he's on the time limit.
No, Dr. Robinson.
What?
Dr. Robinson.
Did she give you it?
What happens when she does?
I'm just gonna say we've already covered it, and I'm just gonna introduce her. Because she was only gonna cover what has to cover. So, Richard, would you like to start us off?
I will. There were, I think, 1, 2, 3 of our 3 council members have submitted some, that I've seen, maybe more, that I've seen, submitted some ideas for consideration, in order to raise revenue in the city here. And, I'm looking for the one that I sent out so that I can just be right on par with it. But, you don't have to do.
Yeah, can we put his up there that he emailed to you?
I hadn't emailed his because I was just gonna show them, but
You got what I emailed?
yeah.
Let me have it.
Well, I don't have it printed out.
I do.
Yeah.
You want it on phone? I've got it printed
I'm
out.
trying to figure where I got it.
That's good.
You got it on paper?
Let me just reach a little bit for that. Well, I didn't know if I really want to let it go. I just want to make sure I get it back.
All right,
Show the copy
okay.
anywhere else.
All right. These proposals that of course are not set in stone because
Thank you. Let's just get
all
back
of us
to
have to do that, but these somebody doesn't have. Property rate prior to the state redoing their reassessment and everything here in Jackson, the property rate was 1.9619. In 2021 or 22, that's when it went down to the 1.6114. So their proposal is to restore it back to the 1.9619. Although that's more than the 1.6. Although it's more than that, it's a restoration. The way I look at it, it's a restoration to what it was prior, which was a responsible rate, rather than just being looked at as being an increase. It's a restoration of what it was in 2021. Number 2, to allow the property owners to pay their taxes in installments at the recorder's office. I'm sorry.
No, we've got it up there, so you can let them view with you now.
What do you mean? The,
Right there. Thank you,
okay.
Kenny.
To allow them to pay the taxes in installments. Now, that was going on for a while. I don't know if it's been ended or not, but it was at one point.
We're still doing some of it, but we've got to actually file a plan with the comptroller because that's supposed to pass an ordinance to do that.
All right, well, let's do that. So that persons who might have a problem with the increase can pay their taxes in installments on a monthly basis. Number 3, initiate a county-wide media promotion to alert seniors about the property tax relief and property tax freeze program. Although that's state law now and we have it on our website, we don't publish that outside. We don't put it out there where everybody just knows this is what it is. I've had constituents that I've talked to about this, and they didn't know anything about it. You know, everybody doesn't have a computer. They can't come to the website and look and see what stuff is. So if we just proactively promote that so everybody would have it, that would in some way temper the increase should we decide to pass it. Number 4, increase the city stickers of all vehicles to $50 for everybody. However, property owners will receive a $15 discount per vehicle. This was considered because I don't think it's entirely fair to put the burden of increased revenue on property owners. There are a lot of people who don't own property, but they own cars, and if they had that increase, that would make it more equitable. And I think it'd be more equitable also to give property owners a discount since they will be paying, increased property taxes as well as paying money on their vehicle. And I propose that that discount will be $35 per vehicle for those persons who own property. Number 4, increase the rental rate for city-owned venues, the fairground, Carl Perkins, every venue, increase about 15% to bring revenue in. Number 4, cut contributions to all nonprofits by 10%. There are some proposals to just cut out funding nonprofits, but I think the nonprofits do a good job, and so that's my proposal. Cut it by 10% for all nonprofits, and that would be based on 10% of the amount they receive in fiscal year 26. And number 5, to immediately initiate the procedure to increase the hotel motel tax percentage. I brought that up last year, and I think I was told you have to go through the state legislature, and you gotta do this, and you gotta do that. So whatever it is you gotta do, let's just initiate it now. Although we might not realize or won't realize that revenue now, when the matter comes up next year, that'll be, hopefully it will be in place, and that will be revenue that we could count on and have in place. So those proposals that I put out there. I'm not married to anything, but it's something to get us started.
Thank you, and I appreciate you sending that out. Could we start with Nathan to help us understand what could be accomplished and what might not be
So
accomplished?
under Councilman Donnell's proposal, that would generate somewhere between 7.8 and $8.3 million. 8.3 is how we figured that. $8.3 million in property tax. The city sticker, there are a couple of practical considerations when we're thinking about trying to have 2 different city sticker rates. The chief of which is that city stickers are collected by the city court clerk, and so they don't know who a property owner is and who isn't, and that information wouldn't be live to them.
We say it one more time, but city
County
clerk.
court, excuse me, county court clerk, I'm sorry. The county clerk collects those. As we've discussed in some cases, sometimes we have difficulty getting them to sell a city sticker anyway, but that's the real practical part of it. The other part is that some of that would be charging a recovery fee for something like that, with different rates for different people under different situations like that, would possibly bring some equal protection or rational basis claims on the disparity between them, because that fee is designed and is legislated in such a way that it offsets the cost of street maintenance in the general fund. And so everybody uses the same street, the same amount. And so the basis of the fee is the street maintenance thing. The venue, the compromise there would be state maintenance. So City of Jackson's owner occupancy rate is about 51% right now. And a good compromise between the 15 and the 35 would be like $42. And it would raise the same, if you did the 35 and 50 rate, setting the rate to $42 would raise the same amount of money as if you did that.
Y'all see what you're saying? I strike what I said about that, just put 40.
Okay.
That take care of that?
Yeah, and so that would raise, about $0.94 million if you did that. Increasing venue rental rates by 15% would raise somewhere between $55,000 and $83,000 a year. Some of those, specifically the ballpark, were fixed on a contract there, but the rest of them we're looking at about $55,000 to $83,000, depending on how you define a rental, because there's a whole bunch of different fees that go into that. Nonprofits in the current budget that you're looking at are $220,000, so you cut that by 10%, that's $22,000. And the hotel motel tax, and there's a huge conversation there, and I did a deep dive on hotel motel tax, but basically per percentage increase, the city would realize about $110,000 per percentage increase on that. So all total, the way you've got that outlined, if we did it even with the $42 city sticker, you're looking somewhere between $9 and $9.5 million.
All right.
Now Mr. Taylor's in here, and I was impressed by the model that he has. So all the proposals that you guys ran through here, we ran through the Paul Taylor model is what it saved on the computer. Councilman Donnell's proposal obviously would satisfy that model. much faster even than some of the other proposals that they've got, because the increase in revenue is so great. But that would maintain way above the target fund balance level past fiscal year 31, so at that rate.
So 9 million roughly, 8 million of that is a property tax increase.
Roughly, yes, sir.
So it's a property tax increase to take care of.
And I'm making copies of yours. I thought we can sort of see it, but I'm making copies so, it can be passed around and then we can put, the amount and any other questions. Are you satisfied with his answer though? We can't split the wheel increase.
Okay, no, I ain't satisfied with it, but, you know, I accept that. I ain't
I
satisfied
understand,
with it.
that's,
See, like to me, you know, you're charging $50 for everybody.
yeah.
But for those that own real estate, you're just giving them a discount. I don't see it as being two separate, you know, effectively it might come to that, but insofar as the way it's made up, everybody's charging the same thing, but if you happen to get a property owner, you get a discount. You know? But anyway, we ain't gotta have about that.
I think we should,
I
is
think
there
that's
any
a
other
brilliant idea.
questions?
Huh?
I do, yeah. She's printing those out, and let's pass these around. This was Councilman Donnell's. You can look on there and see if you have any other questions for
Can I get
him.
one of those?
Yes, sir.
And can I also get,
That's what it is.
okay.
Richard, what other things, because I know you're limited on time, so I'm gonna make sure that you get everything, and we can just start our discussion, but is there anything on your points you wanna bring
Yeah,
up?
I wanna know about this too, 'cause this was designed to increase revenue. What I wanna know from the mayor and from Nathan, are there any, expenses, big expenses, that the city is looking at, say, next year, 2 years, 3 or 4 years from now, that we will have to pay for down the road?
I mean, one of the big expenses that we know is coming is the construction of a road, for a major tourism venue.
That's great work.
Yes, sir.
You don't want me to say a word?
Everybody wouldn't
Everybody
say a
knows it's a
word.
great book, so.
You can say what you want. I'm not going to.
Okay.
We know that's coming.
How much the estimate that amount to be?
7, yeah, I was gonna say 7.5, 7.
And how far in the future do we see that?
It's possible, I was told that it's possible that we might be doing it now, but we're not, so I would say,
FY 27, 28?
I figure it's 27.
Well, we also have a tremendous amount of land holding out there that, could, factor into some revenue too, don't pay for that.
And then we have some
All right,
recurring costs.
Yeah, I can get you, let me get my list.
Our, like, we've got a contract coming up with our Motorola radio vendor that's going up about 30% overall, which is, it's not a huge amount of money, but it is recurring when you think about it as a recurring expense.
That's FY 27 also?
FY 27, 28, 29.
How much would that be approximately?
It's,
200,000?
well, the base is 200 and something, so it's about 35% more.
No, but I'm asking you in millions, what we got, looking at us in millions.
We're gonna,
We have capital items, yes, we'll start June of next year, we'll start construction on airways. We have that money from the bond to start construction on it, so that's part there.
Yeah, I'm not talking about anything that we got money
Yeah.
already for.
Well, I'm trying to think out loud.
Okay,
Flower
all right.
Rail, the Civic Center? Yes, Civic Center, Flower Rails.
While you mentioned that, the person that that looked at it said that was a great suggestion if we wanted to go ahead and, put it out for the bid, but it would not need to be paid for till the year 28. So, just so we would have that.
Madison.
oh yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to refinance the Madison High School, probably.
So we were for that. We weren't, what happened?
Still gotta refinance it, we're accounting for it, we still gotta refinance it.
But no, accrual means we set the money aside.
No, we never said it for us.
So we have not paid or set aside money for Madison High School. I have lied to so many people. We had talked about it.
I was of the impression that we were saving it out.
Oh, yeah. I've asked that question.
Debt service.
I mean,
That was the story once upon a
I
time.
mean, we have sufficient debt service capacity to pay the notes. I mean, that's,
Well, that wasn't the deal. We were
I don't know-
supposed to,
I don't
we
know
were
what the
supposed
deal
to,
is, yeah.
well, we talked about this in capital, we accrued enough, so when it came due, we'd have to pay.
I've never said that.
Wow. Okay.
I don't
What is
know.
that, $12 million?
No.
$9 million?
Okay, let's write that down for, discussion, but let's be considerate of Councilman Richard.
I've almost got all mine.
Now,
9 million for Madison and the thing at the Civic Center, how much is that?
Just shy.
375.
Just thought it was just,
I think it's like 2.7, I thought.
I've been calling it 3, but
Yeah.
Okay, what?
for the Civic Center.
And these things are FY 27.
Well,
Take the hotel resort place out. Everything else is FY 27?
It's 28. It was 28.
Everything else?
the fly rail, the 3 million for the Civic Center is FY 28. We will do the Madison deal in FY 27, but it's just debt. I mean, it's not just debt, but it's not, we don't have to fund the whole.
We're already leasing it, so we can reallocate the lease
Yeah.
payments towards
Reallocate
whatever
lease
debt
payments.
service is.
And then my last thing, from the account that I gave, the revenue raised on this account, even if you modified the city sticker thing, you said it was 8.8 something, you said?
It's about, that's just the property tax, it's about $9 million total.
Everything.
You mentioned that 1.5.
Okay. I'm saying, I'm through.
Look, very well. Am I wrong on this? That shows direct taxes that will pay for itself in less than 3 years. Is that correct?
I haven't seen the economic impact study.
That's close.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, we need to make sure, we don't need to put that, we just need to borrow short-term money for 3 years and pay that back out by revenue coming in, and not throw it in the big bucket with everything else and get
I
lost.
think that was the plan.
I just wanna make sure that was the plan.
That's why we're waiting. That's why we're waiting until we know we gotta do it, right?
Okay, all right, okay, but is it, because I heard something wrong, I misheard something else, I want to make sure.
We haven't discussed the type of debt, but I don't disagree with you. I think it's-
Okay, all right.
We're also looking at some grant funding that would pay for a large portion of that as well.
Correct.
Well, that seems better, you know, but if that direct, because that economic input is unbelievable massive.
But you said you were gonna send me a copy of that, you haven't done that yet.
Because you didn't send me that, no, I didn't.
Okay.
I heard
No, very positive, so that project will require a fire department at some point too.
Sure will.
One last thing I want to talk about the vote, to make sure everybody understands.
Okay, let's get back.
What I said, is that going to this, 1.96 rate for property taxes, that's a restoration of the previous tax rate that the city had.
It's a
It
tax,
restores it.
it's a tax increase, Chris.
Well,
This-
think about what it does, it restores what we had.
Well, why don't we
It's not just coming out of thin air,
Why don't
it
we go-
restores
Larry,
what we
let
had.
him finish.
I'm through, I'm through.
You,
You wanna make everybody understand that it's a restoration.
So could we restore it to two numbers before?
I'm sorry?
Well, let's go back and restore the tax rate before that tax rate and get even more money.
I didn't do that.
I said-
You can do it, but I don't wanna do that. But now you can do it, if that's what you wanna do.
It is recognized by the state, when you do not use the certified state rate, that you are increasing taxes, which is what we might wanna do. But just, I think we ought to be honest about it.
I'm being honest about it. In what way is that a lie? Why I said we were restoring it to what it was. How is that not
There's no
true?
implication that it's a lie.
yeah.
Well, he said, be
It's
honest
an
about it.
opinion, it's not calling you a liar, I promise.
But he said, let's be honest about it, is what he said, as though I'm not being honest about it. We are restoring it.
Well, I did
this
not
proposal.
mean to call you a liar.
All right, okay.
You know, that's, you know better than that.
We cool.
Yeah, you know better than that.
We cool. But we restored it to what it previously was. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Okay, at that pause, Dr. Robinson, I'd like to introduce you to the group and the council. This is Dr. Martha Robinson. She's chairman of our audit committee, and we appreciate all the work you're doing. We did let Kelsey go ahead and we put the job description up. There was not any questions about it, but, we appreciate you being here so very much, and we're excited about the budget committee and the audit committee working together.
Thank you. And we're looking forward to, once this position is in place and functioning, that it will serve to help us be more efficient in our financial matters and budgeting. So we are looking forward to working with the committee the financial officer to make sure that we are as efficient and as effective as we can possibly. We appreciate that very much so. While we paused, is there anything from the budget committee that you all would just, a statement or two that you all would like to make?
So, yeah, what we've been focused on is providing you guys information and tools. And so the tool that Nathan's been using to take your suggestions, we've developed that out of the budget committee. One of the conversations that we had, and we talked about this as a group the last time I was able to join you, is understanding the collective desires of the council. So I believe you all went through and said what your priorities were. If we can get a consensus on what those priorities are and have those communicated back to us as a budget committee, we can help guide the financial path towards those priorities.
And the nice thing is that you can see it projected in the future, how it faces. Thank you.
So I'm listening. I know Frank's here listening. He's president. We have other members that are on the committee that serve on the city council. So we're responding. I'm trying to respond to you in real time on what your needs are. Ms. Wallace said that she needed to be able to project, and so I created the tool for you guys to project. Now, as things move forward and wherever you land, we'll put it into the model and we'll be able to project that out. And as things change, because they always will, things are going to pop up that are unaccounted for. That could be positive or negative. We can adjust the model to see where we need to go with that.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Frank. And we started that our last session. Markeisha made notes for us, so I have it, but I wanted us to get through this and then kind of narrow down where we want to go and work with the budget committee. So let's continue on with discussion, and just want to make sure everybody remembers that our main goal today is to not leave here without a decisive plan on how we are paying for the payroll raises. So let's continue the discussion. Who would like to go next?
Just to go through the last one.
Okay.
And then never more about this.
Well, I submitted a proposal, Nathan has that, but I said I would withdraw mine and support Councilman Donnell's because we were saying close to the same thing. My property tax increase was $1.90. That's only 3 cents more than what the county rate is. And I think it would generate $6 million or so. And what I would do with that is we would allocate $1 million automatically for police, $1 million for fire to be able to go in and remodel and to work in their fire station. I think you also would put another $1 million towards our debt service and put the rest on capital projects. Was it $6 million? The city sticker, we would fund roads. That would go strictly to roads. And then I don't have it.
We can pull, I can pull it up. It's on that same email, Kenny.
And the only other two proposals I saw was I think Mr. McKelvey's and Ms. Wallace's, and while I'm not or video, yeah, but I saw yours, Ms. Wallace. I thought it was good. The only thing is my concern. I don't disagree with you. It seems like it puts a Band-Aid that fixes this year, but it doesn't. What I think mine and Richard's does is it gets us a little further down the road. Nobody wants to raise taxes, but I think we're at a point where the revenue's not there, so we're gonna have to do something. We can put a Band-Aid on it this year, but we're right back having the same conversation next year because revenue's not there. So I would support Councilman Donnell's. I don't know if anybody else would or not, but I would be in support of that.
Thank you, Councilman. Any discussion, questions for Councilman JP?
Do you have any revenue savings, any savings?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me personally, I'd cut nonprofits
So how much would you cut?
completely.
Okay, so that would give us $1 million.
No, give us 220,000.
Okay,
But
and,
you're not talking about donations and all of it.
okay, we have a slide ready, that Ron, I don't know if we want to address it right now. Can we finish with every councilman's first and then go back to nonprofits, Ron? But he was nice enough to make a one-page so we can look directly at that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, but yeah, the 220.
1, 2, 3, 4. Genesee here. Richard presented, Johnny shared his.
Five.
You're
Okay.
Me.
Number district.
When Paul and I spent a good part of the day working on some thoughts, and the concern to me that I saw in what he was presenting, the budget committee, it made the budget make sense. We have grown the city by 35% in the last 5 years, right now.
No, we've averaged growth of about 4.6% over a stretch. We had 1 year where we went up 13.7%.
And so what I took from that is that we can keep our spending cut back to where we become a little more better stewards of dollars. To 3%, that was a goal that we talked about.
But 3% is what was presented in here if you change nothing on your revenue generation and just went with our typical growth that we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years. Then 3%, but that's nothing to capital. That's nothing, that's not included, and you end up maxing out your debt service at some point by doing that. And so that's a very, we had some conversations about the realities of getting to that number.
It's very lean budget.
Right.
And so, but I want to add to that. We can limit, because we talked about how difficult it is for a city to limit its spending and its growth that we spend, is that we remove nonprofits. And we not only take out the $220,000 for that we give away to nonprofit. You know, I've lived in the nonprofit world all my professional career, and we're doing the worst thing for the nonprofits because we get them attached, and they become attached to us, and that becomes part of their lifeline. And that we are not we should not be the lifeline for the nonprofits. So we should remove ourselves from that. We should take ourselves out of the nonprofit business. We fund the financial empowerment area of the city. And we pay, if I understand correctly, United Way $150,000 to operate the program. We pay a person's salary to work in that program. We need to give that back to the nonprofit world to do that. Banks do it for free. So that would be 150 plus another $70-something thousand that I think we would remove on an annual basis for doing that. But we would give back to the community the things that we do that are nonprofit related. And
Like what?
like mowing yards for people. My church for years painted houses for people that need their homes painted. Where I go now, they mow grass for people that are needing people to do that. We should give the community back to the churches. The churches need to get involved in their community to do that. And then use the city sticker for roads. We dedicate that for roads. So I'm suggesting we become a leaner city and remove things that we may have put in place during COVID, with COVID dollars, ARPA dollars. That was not intended, perhaps, to be eternal. And so once that funding ended, then we need to release ourselves from that.
Nonprofit law, how much does that raise?
Okay, if you all would like to, we can go ahead and open that up. I kind of wanted to let everyone get their thoughts out before we focused on nonprofit. Okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah, and I can
You want to, or?
pass this around as well, just to make it a little bit easier for everyone. This is the same information that I presented last time. It's nothing new. Martin had just kind of asked for it to all be in one place. And so if you want to take one of those and pass around, it's a long list, so it's kind of, spreadsheets are kind of weird to print, but essentially what did is put all the groups on one page and break it down by 3 categories. The first group, and it's coming around, is what organizations received last year, whether it was what I'm calling an operating and a direct line item, listed in the budget, and in an event sponsorship, whether that's a table or a golf scramble or whatever, and then what that event was called, and then putting all of their requests for this year on the same page so you can see that. The second group, if you kind of scroll down, Kenny, you'll see a bunch of groups that did not receive things in the past but have asked for funding this year as part of the new nonprofit policy. And then if you scroll all the way down, you'll see organizations that got an event sponsorship but didn't receive named appropriations or general funding. Just as a reminder, as I talked about last time, those organizations in the current nonprofit policy, we received a lot of applications, which you've received the documents for. But if an organization was just looking for an event sponsorship, they were not required to fill anything out. That was considered part of just kind of rolling basis funding as if it's available. It's not guaranteed. So you could see those types of groups, the event as well.
Now, I wanted you all to just have one page. If Ron, if you'll let them scroll down to the bottom, I wanted you to see what we gave last year, which the total amount, if we added, was 160. Or did we?
It'd be
total.
227,650.
Okay, that's what you.
Because it's based upon the 2 different types, and then that 1.8 million is the total requests for this year.
Okay, so
Does that make
that's,
sense?
yes, sir. That's what I wanted you to see, which is the 2 numbers. So compare last year to what we gave. That's total. That's your tables. That's everything. Now this year you have requests of 1.8 million.
Correct.
So if you want to scroll up and see where the big jump is, I'll just go ahead and point it out. It's Lane College for $750,000. You all can discuss that, but I wanted you to see apples and apples and just have the numbers.
Yeah.
So you can see what you would actually be cutting out.
Right.
Now, the other ones, I'm gonna call the protected items.
Yeah, so
That is
these,
not in there.
yeah, so these,
Those are the executive ones up there.
sure. So that's that one. So these are your organizations where either the city is a member of, their fees are set by statute or based by population, or they serve an economic development purpose. So for example, in the chamber one, there is the incentives that we agreed as part of the incentive package to Louisville City. Is a member of that. So,
Ron, can you make that just a little bit bigger?
Kenny, can you make that bigger?
I do, but there. Yeah, not in there, it's not gonna help. Okay, can you all look through this list right now, and can we go ahead and decide, this is appropriations, do we, now, do you wanna save it for later?
Yeah, we're not
Okay,
gonna-
all right.
I think this gets granular. I think if we can get to the big bucket and then we can get
That's,
down to the
I
granular.
agree, but we kept talking about it, so I did wanna save it,
Sure.
so, thank you, Ron.
You can think about that as continue to go around the table.
Yeah, I think as we're taking ideas, we can mark that and then we can come back.
And Mark,
So,
sure,
so
you
on the
cover-
budget, that don't, it's 340,000.
That, you're looking at the first version, it's part of other cuts that went through other versions of the budget, Larry, that must be an old one.
It's 5.6.
Yeah, 5.6 is,
526.
yeah, 526, that number was cut from, I think,
$13,000.
Okay,
that number was cut from,
between 560 and 526.
That number was cut from 340 to 220 already.
So the numbers, and we will come back here, but those should be accurate numbers. Nathan and I, Ron, Claire, everybody looked into that yesterday. So,
Flip those up.
That one?
I will, or,
I already have it. You just give me a second.
but again, let's not dive into that until we finish with everyone. Frank, I wanna make sure that you were finished. Do you want us to put numbers to what you said, or do you want us just to come back in discussion
Well,
later?
let's come back and do that.
Okay, so 5, 6, yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to shortcut this because literally questions I have will take 2 or 3 hours to answer. I'm doing what, I don't like this process, but we're having to do it. I like the process where we will come up with a revenue figure, and we'll go to the budget committee and say, we've got a revenue figure here, do you agree with it? And then the departments meet that revenue figure. If they cannot, they write a reason why they can't, and here again, the budget committee can make their input there and all. Let me talk in general, and here's there's so many things I want. We have got so many places that losing money. I went over this last time, the ballpark, Farmers Market, Civic Center, Med, Fairgrounds, animal care and all. My first question is there any way we can consolidate management in this and say 1 or 2 department heads by, for example, we just recently separated the Farmview and the Med, I believe, is that not correct? So anyway, they're a whole group here. You gotta think outside the box. If we can come by and say 1 department head, we say $100,000. We say 2, we go on from that. Animal care is really shocking to me because I think 6 years ago, and maybe you might help me on this, I believe the city gave $250,000 for animal care. Does that sound reasonable? Don't quote me on that number, but that's the best I can find.
Can you clarify, Dave,
Used $250,000 for that.
that was a line item?
Yeah, now, here again,
Not 100%.
I'm not 100% on that. I do know that it's $1.3 million now, and I know it was $76,000 20 years ago. It's 18 times that. Think if our budget had gone up 18 times the budget 20 years ago, what it'd be.
I'd like, just a little historical reference there. We used to have the Jackson Humane Society that provided a tremendous amount of that service. They folded, it fell in the city, and the way we got stuck with it, however, it does keep overpopulation, the problems that come with it, down as best we can. So I just,
And here again, with so much money involved, I mentioned earlier, is that something we can look to try to combine with the county and have some type of mutual
We
agreement?
had that conversation and it doesn't work the way they're set up. We had that conversation.
Well, is any other way, what I would like is that 1.3 million, how many dogs is that? How many dogs do we process it?
That's why we actually put it right prior to, so we can get the information for you. I don't just run that information.
Well, that's a number that I don't think would be pretty easy to get. Anyway,
Not from the top of my head, I have to go get them. I don't have them.
Mary, can I have one suggestion to that? There has been talk to make a board for the Animal Care Center, like other things. Whitney, I believe, herself raises close to 200,000. I thought it was about 236 with her fur ball. So you can take that out from what she's raising. If we implement an animal care board, they can start looking at ways for other revenues, but,
so this budget, can we cut 100,000 out?
okay. I didn't have a chance to call Whitney, because again, I tried to funnel the questions that we had and make sure, but I do believe that she brought in about 236. Mayor, does that sound?
That sounds right.
I believe it's 236 fur ball, and she works that and raises that herself. Yeah. So I think I think that Whitney would need to be in on this discussion before, and then I think council needs to be very aware that we need a board, and I think Mr. Mayor has been approached about that. So continue on, but I just want to address
Public
that.
relations has gone up tremendously. Is there a lot we're getting?
We changed the department over, we consolidated 2 people who were in different departments in public relations. So we've talked about this, don't remember when, but we had, that was in the budget meetings, we had a person that was in engineering that was doing, it was Gail Tacker Gilbert, that was doing the work, being paid out of engineering, but was doing the public relations work, in addition, well, he does the communication, so we moved that position up from the engineering because it didn't make any sense to have that.
Move the position, didn't move it. I've got some questions on this too. My favorite, the Office of Innovations, how many people do they have in that? And what do they do?
There are 5.
And what are their functions?
Yeah, I mean,
We can pull that up.
I believe I had a question when, but I don't know, because we were able to ask Richard, but didn't ask Frankie. Question, and maybe for Nathan here.
Okay, hold on a second, please. You got your, let's get the answer on how many,
While
but,
they're getting that,
JP, what was your question?
Yeah, my question would be, let's say we do cut those things out of the budget, the things Larry suggested from department heads or whatever. The difference that makes, I guess, I'm not seeing where it looks like we're trying to, we need to find millions and we're only finding, 100,000 here. And I'm not saying that that's not good, that's good, every little bit helps. But it doesn't help us a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years. So I just want us to be forward thinking to say it's not enough just to put a Band-Aid for this year. Let's say we cut all of that out, cut all nonprofits. Next year, we're still with the step raises, with everything. And not to mention, nothing can go wrong. An AC unit, we haven't accounted for an AC unit break-in, we haven't accounted for any other.
Well,
Life happens.
We have maintenance made to since every department
Sure.
before when those things happen.
But
you're
also-
right, it may not be enough.
every time we cut money out, we talked about how that whatever we fund, it compounds every year. And so it's like you're saving. And so if we cut that, it's $100,000. To our taxpayers, that's a chunk of dollars.
And I did want to say respectfully, JP, to you, I cannot ask for a tax rate increase until we have shown the taxpayers, like we mentioned last year, that we have done our due diligence, gone everywhere that we can. And that's why I've introduced, I think the Budget Committee and the Audit Committee are going to be so helpful for us this coming year. But we do have to, if we can, look at areas to be more productive and so.
Because we do both. Because if we don't, the public doesn't trust us with money. They rarely trust us with decisions. We need to start gaining some public trust that we're trying to protect their tax dollars, make good decisions based on financial matters.
But we can't govern scared. We can't govern
Wait,
scared.
no, we're trying to judge.
I'm not scared of an election, I'm not scared of.
I'm not scared of the election.
Well, I understand, but what I'm saying, it seems like anytime that T word comes up, everybody gets nervous, everybody gets scared. And we can't govern from a place of where we're scared of what the if I don't do a good job, vote me out. When somebody gets
Let me ask you a question, that's for David. How much above inflation should county, should city government pay?
Yeah, thank you, JP,
Sure.
very respectful. Let's let Larry finish because it is his turn.
Okay, we got 5 people, what do they do?
Well, as you were in our mayor's office budget hearing this summer, we went over it and shared you with the job descriptions, but I'll go through them again for you. The first is our Service Innovation Director. That's Abby Palmer. What she does is the grant coordinator for the city, and then she also leads data projects. So for example, we just were accepted part of a data alliance program where we're going to be totally revamping and enhancing our 311 system. She leads those efforts. The next is Claire. She's our community development coordinator, director. She handles kind of issues, policy issues that are city down. So for example, working with our housing policies and how that works between planning, building and codes. You also have, she works on things that build communities such as our Mayor's Youth Council. We have Neighborhood Academy, where citizens can come and learn and do programs, be informed about what the city's doing. She also works on, for example, kind of our strategic blight enforcement and getting different departments to work together. They're actually in Memphis right now doing a training amongst different departments on how to better address blight throughout the city. Then you have Neighborhood Services, which has 2 people, so that's Elvia and Chantel.
Back to the, because, specifically, what would she do in a week? What was unique with certain groups or these you mentioned, or?
Yeah, so for example, right now, weekly is Neighborhood Academy, so that's taking citizens that want to learn more about what the city is doing around the different departments. They just met with PD, I believe it was, earlier this
So
week.
if we eliminated that, what would our citizens see not happening?
Well, you would have probably, I would say, fewer opportunities for citizens to engage with their city and city departments and better understand what they do. You would have less coordination on citywide issues that impact multiple departments like blight and housing, homeless. She leads our homeless efforts.
People would have died this year without her.
She led the warming shelter during this winter storm. I mean, you would have probably had dozens of people die.
That's very subjective.
Well,
It's a hypothetical.
Because it didn't happen.
I'm not saying we're all, there was a man that died a number of years ago, but
Well,
to
at
say
the very
that
least, she
without her
coord-
people, that's a big stretch, guys.
okay, then that's
Please.
fair. But then I'll come back and say she's what coordinated the volunteer effort to run the warming shelters during the winter.
And great job on the warning shelters. I'm just pushing back on that statement.
Well, I'm gonna drop it here because of that statement. So the point is, we need to analyze in detail what everybody does and not in a big open meeting, but one-on-one with them every day to come in on this. Because that's a lot of money, and the generalities I heard were all good projects, but I didn't hear anything that's a full-time job. Now, I might not know enough to be able to make a good judgment.
I would agree.
But, well, I agree with some other
Come on,
things.
guys, keep it civil, please.
I mean,
That doesn't help.
I would say, you know,
Kind of quick.
just to go through,
Likewise.
you know, 2 of the 5. I mean, the first one, like I mentioned.
I just recall my question, because this is getting us
Just a
nowhere.
moment, everyone, just a moment. We are going to promote, this is working together. And Larry, we respect your viewpoints, and I would ask that we have specific numbers. And again, today, I want you all to focus on, we have to do payroll raises before we leave today. And I'm firm on that. So let's get back together. And Larry, it is still District 5, and I would appreciate your
No, that's
passion.
six.
What? But I appreciate your passion. Don't get frustrated because we can't do anything together. So I appreciate your passion, and I want you to have your time to speak.
Nathan, why have we gone up to $629,000 from 26 of $480,000
Where?
in your department? City report office,
Give me the line item. What number?
56013. Well, this is a total recorder's office.
I don't know.
Honest me.
No, I mean, the budget hasn't changed much since I've been here. Other than that, I can't, I know they added at some point in there, they moved somebody from revenue into recorder, I think, because they did, as the revenue supervisor, they're paid out of that department.
Well, in the 2026 actual, on this old budget that's not correctly, might be changed, was $483,000. And we show at the year end, $582,000. We show $100,000 being spent in the last 2 months. Is that possible?
Let me look at it, Larry. This is the kind of thing I wish you let me know beforehand.
Well, I have had some personal good things happen.
That's good. So, I mean, we show year to date. We show year to date $530,000. That's 2026.
Okay.
Out of a budget of $615,000. And so we think we're actually going to spend about $599,000, possibly. And so you asked for what year were you comparing?
26.
So 26 to 25.
No, to 27. in this here again, the actual shows 833,000, and the projected for 2026, 582,000, about $100,000 difference. We'll have to spend in the next, in 2 months.
Well, at this moment, we've spent $530,000 year to date. And we think we're gonna spend about $559,000.
So my question, rhetorical, but we have to take into this, is how did we go from 480 to 580?
Now, where's the 480 number coming from? Okay.
Actual.
So this number that you're looking at was based on April numbers.
Okay.
So,
2 months.
there's 2 months there.
We had 100,000 we had to spend in 2 months, based on that, if that
I
report.
mean, I'm sure this is correct and it's printed. I mean, I can print you a list of what we
Well,
spent.
here's the current. That's the May 26th.
Okay, so now we're at 500 on the current versus $82,000 gain in 2 months. But the big thing is we're jumping to 633,000 from 582,000.
What's the 582,000 number that you're looking at?
Projected,
2026.
projected.
First of all, we anticipate an increase in the cost of audit service. It goes up every year, probably $10,000 or $15,000. That's the only real change. The rest of it, some of this stuff is some office supplies and a couple other small things.
Okay, can I ask if,
2026 original 650, revised 650, actual 500, and then close out to the 582. So it looks like they're actually coming in what we originally budgeted.
That's what I plan on coming in under what we budgeted.
Kim,
My question is that can be done in a couple of months.
Well, I mean, there are some expenses, as you know, there are some expenses that we pay one time a year without having time to look through it. It's difficult for me to tell
okay,
you.
at this time, I would like to pause on things that are not going to help us today. Because we, again, have to meet a certain number today and be respectful. Larry, Nathan's available. I don't want to cut you off, but I want to make sure that you're being heard. But we've got to make a decision, and we have another month and a half, Mayor, to the end of August to make adjustments.
So we got 2 months technical right now.
And if we don't satisfy everyone's questions and concerns, we are putting another date down, not in the next week, but another date to dig into this more. But we cannot leave today without payroll coverage.
Well, let me just make my statement I make every time, and I'll be finished.
Well, and again, respectfully, I'm not trying to rush you, but
Okay.
Richard has to leave, and I wanted him to hear a little bit from
The
everybody.
numbers from the June state audit for general fund were 80,278,000. We were at a proposed, this might be changed, I think it is, budget general fund of 99,723,000. That's probably been changed slightly. Anyways, $20 million increase, which is 24%. In addition to that, we had this bond issue. We spent some of the money, but the total money available to spend was $26 million. That gives us in these 2 years, for 1 year, $45 million a year, for 1 year, 56%. Inflation during that time was 9.24. Inflation would be 24.2 is the actual. So with inflation at 9, we spent 24%. I studied through that and I apologize. But that's my question. We're going to government, and I asked it before. How much above inflation should we want our government to do? Yes, I will shut up a little bit.
You know, and again, respectfully, don't shut up, but if you want to, we can print these off so the rest of the council
did.
can look at it. Okay, well then you need to
I
make
printed it
sure.
off. I gave it out last meeting.
Okay, well then we should have it, but I would appreciate if you would do something in writing so the rest of us can see it of what you actually want to cut and what the numbers that we can project for everyone.
Well, that, I probably can't give you your satisfaction, because what I'm asking for is some management. For a manager to go in and look at the department, because he knows that much better than what I
Yes,
know. I know what's
I
going
agree.
on. And that say, manager, you have to have this. Not that you want it, you have to have it, and come back for it. And I think in a $100 million budget, trying to find $1 million is fair.
And I think with some of the budget committees rubric, I always mispronounce that, but I think this next year we're gonna be headed in that direction. I didn't wanna cut you off, but I want everybody to
I'm finished.
finish, and then we
You
can
can
come
be
back.
clean time, you've done a good job.
Who's-
Can I say?
yes, sir, cause you're gonna have to leave.
Yeah, I got to really go now. There's two things. Number one, going back to what you said about the general rate of inflation. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I would suspect that whatever the increase in inflation is generally, I would bet that the increase in essential items that a city, the municipality has to purchase has probably gone up more than the general rate of inflation. I believe that probably is true. I would hope you can check that out and see if it is true. And therefore, if that is true, then it wouldn't really be a good apple-to-apple comparison when you say that, city spending has gone up way more than the general inflation.
Don't disagree at all.
So I'd like to see that. I bet you that it'll be that. Because I've talked to some departments and their expenses have just gone up just astronomically, things they have to buy. And I would just like to say one other thing, because I leave, is that to remember that the expenses of the city have increased. I mean, they just have increased. A responsible body has to do something to meet those increases. And we would like to cut this and cut that, but it gets to a point where you cut so much that you reduce the effectiveness of the city offering services to the public. And so those are just two things that expenses have just
Here's
gone
mine,
up.
I wanted you to have that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Richard, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to, Russ 6.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so all right. Okay, can you put mine up there pretty please? Okay, here's mine that we're gonna pass around to everybody. I'm gonna stand up with y'all on mine.
Is that the first one?
Yes, sir.
This one.
It should be in that red.
We will. Okay, and, let me have one copy, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of like, I've never been a school teacher, but I kind of act one in it here. Okay, my whole point, if you will go down to the very bottom, is I want for us to not leave again without having a way to cover our payroll expenses. So the first thing that I would suggest is increase the sticker rate from 25 to 40. I originally said 50, but I wanted to compromise with Richard because I do not think there's a way that we can give a discount to a property homeowner. The revenue gain would be $831. If you all would be good for it, that $1,386,000 would really be nice. Increase our city court fee from 25 to 75. And I have the research, Nathan helped me with this also. We are the lowest in the state. And I want to be very respectful to what Richard said. City court is not to make money, but let's be realistic, and I use the word hemorrhaging. And it is. We cannot continue to lose that much money, because that's coming out of, hold on one second, because I've got that, I want you to make that point. We cannot continue because that's the taxpayers' money that we're subsidizing city court. When I addressed this with the mayor, he heard of another reason, so I'd like for you to address that.
Right, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I'm probably something wrong. If we go to 100, and that, at that point, we send to collections at $100, then it can go on a credit report, which will then give another incentive to pay.
Correct.
Below 100 doesn't go on a credit
It's a
report
shared
for
spreadsheet.
delinquency. 100 and above goes on a credit report for delinquency of those court costs. And so going from 75 to 100 or 25 to 100 will actually, if they do not pay, puts them in delinquency and gets it on their credit report with the collection agency if they don't pay.
Right, did you all understand that?
They clear
So-
the mud.
Seriously, when we go through these steps, stop me because I wanna make sure that we're all
There's
together.
nothing they can do if it's under $100. It's
Right.
just, there's no real incentive to pay.
So is the fee 100 plus 20?
Okay, the question is, and Mr. Mayor, if you will answer this, because you had, the question is, after it gets over 100 is when it is much, more of a penalty. So
Yeah.
finish your question.
Is there another fee on top of that, 120?
No, the fee, so it'd be the court costs, and then you have, would be,
Legal 20.
no, the court cost would be the 100.
Okay.
Then you have whatever the municipal fine is, which would be 50, is the maximum by day. And then you have state litigation.
1375.
1375 on top of that, so you're looking at 163 for a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that,
so the-
instead of like 63, we have that.
So I want you to think through that. And here's projected, the third thing is I want to eliminate the city engineer position. Go back to my other. I want to eliminate that. That's 144,000. If you all don't know what Chris is doing right now, I believe he worked till 8 o'clock last night, 11 o'clock another night. We went for 4 to 5 years without a city engineer. There is ways, I've spoken with the mayor, spoken with Nathan, there are ways that we can name a person in the city to be our city engineer that will eliminate 144,000 out of this current
Yeah, it'd be
budget.
like city engineer by commission, so we do like we did before with 3 or 4 agencies, quickest to respond, but it wouldn't take the full 140 out because we have to leave some in for retainers on stamping things, but yes.
We did, by the way, for both of you, we did increase professional services in engineering this year because we knew that for some period of time, we wouldn't have anybody getting there anyway.
Right, so
So
it
that's-
was in there, but
Some of
that's-
that's,
I think Ron's supposed to be.
some of that's already in.
Yeah, so, okay, so as far as, because we'll have to have contractual services increase with the, without having a true city engineer, what's the difference in, as far as eliminating the engineer's position versus what contractual services would have to
Well,
increase?
the city engineer and some of our developers can tell us more what we expect from
It'll
that.
be as needed, so we get
From
a
that role.
full-time thing if we need an actual PE to stamp something. then
So,
we need it.
so like I've just submitted to Paris, Tennessee, they contract their engineer, right? They don't have a city engineer. So I get a letter back from the engineering company that says, here are the things that you need to adjust on your site plan versus the engineering department would have some review over that, but they would have that support from an outside agency.
And I get that, because we had Dusty Baines doing that for a
That's
while,
right.
did a great job, worked out well. I'm more concerned with the expense part. If we eliminate the position, how much would we increase contractual?
It's hard to know.
I had
It's
asked
dependent
for
upon
a
how many
report.
teams that you're gonna have on those,
Because most of them are contracting for engineering services right now, we're gonna continue to do.
Okay.
It's not our internal person, wouldn't do that anyway. This is tied more to some project management and development stuff.
Right.
And that sort of, it's hard to really quantify that. It's also, being respectful for everybody who's been here, it's hard to quantify that right now because we're realizing in some cases that we're behind on a couple of things, and so it's hard to know.
I think maybe the best thing we can do, because I want to say it was at least a year we didn't have one on staff. And so maybe going back and look at that year what we paid, and then we could get a little growth into it, and have a good baseline that way.
Well, I didn't mean to spring this out there, just.
No,
just-
and I have asked, and it's been heard, I believe, but I want us
Yeah.
to do some type of pulling. I wanted an apples to apples report, but I'm not capable of it, and I think we can. But to go back to your question, Russ, if we find a really good candidate, then we will have to come up with the means to be able to do that. But for this current budget cycle, we have been without one for 5 years. So in my viewpoint, it is worth taking out that money. That's gonna be some revenue gain.
Yeah, I just, like I said, my concern is, I mean, if it's a net neutral one versus the other. then-
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And I think
but
we're
it's
gonna have to
cost
do a little more digging.
I think it'd be a cost savings, because I think the work that Chris does now, that we're already paying for,
Yeah.
he just can't stamp things.
That's
fine. So
exactly right.
That's it.
He's an inspector, not a planner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like it would be a bit of a gain, reduction in expense, so, yeah.
And so the things that I did is I just wanted us to accomplish today that we have to meet our payroll increase. So if we go down and if you just kept the 40, it is 831. If you add all this together, that is a total revenue of 1,225. We needed 746,000 to meet our payroll demand. That would leave us almost $500,000 to go to fund balance. This is a suggestion. It is not a JP, respect to you, it is not a long-term fix. but it would be a fix for today to get their pay in line for July, and then we take June, July, and August to dig into what Larry was saying, to dig into what Russ might be coming up with. But we cannot leave today without funding these payrolls. So that's why at least this is a step, and at least it leaves us in the room with money going to the fund balance. And Nathan did put it through the ecological standpoint of the,
Yeah.
Just the gang was just the 75. To the
if
court
you,
costs.
but,
Just forward to the spreadsheet.
but the court cost that I have in here is only 75.
So if
Can
you
we-
make it 100, if I change that to 100,
Okay, heard that. So you add 599 essentially.
So
Yes.
you'd be putting 600,000 into your fund balance. And you might make people be more aware to stop at a stop sign,
So we
to
would
not,
probably want to, I'm sorry,
no.
weeds, but probably want to reduce the other by 44,000. I'd say just, sorry, Nathan.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Gotta get
That's
100
the
even.
city, you're making 100 even probably. So I'd probably say
the
44.
44 is the benefits, health insurance.
Well, I'm right, I'm looking at the increased
Oh,
cost
you
of
gotta pay
professional
special.
services.
Yeah, so
Again, this doesn't address the bigger picture that everyone is thinking, but I wanted us to be able to leave today with a decision to be able to move forward and then dig deep.
So 5.5.
oh, there you go.
If we increase the fees to $100, we could get by with no sticker increase and about break even on fund balance.
You probably could, and we can put those numbers in there quickly, you could, but sticker increase is kind of like property tax, it hasn't been done in 20 years.
So
And
there's
you're-
the city sticker.
So we just do
And will
that.
you do the tax rate at the original, what would we be restoring it to?
Now, with this plan, it's just leaving.
No, I know
everything.
that, I just wanna see it.
So
What
there's,
it would
there's a
be.
city sticker at 50, so.
Yeah,
so
court
take-
costs at 100 and then move the tax rate,
Is it 1.9619?
I think.
Yeah.
But the reason I said, you said we can't fix it today, and I agree. And that's why we prefer not to put the city sticker on it, and we get the whole tax situation. So, sorry.
Okay, yeah, but you know what, you're right,
Let's go
that
capital.
is exactly right, but I want you to go ahead and pull up the slide since it's been brought up, if we raise the tax
Can we
rate.
read that?
Yes, would you put it up there for the, what it's gonna be for District One, what it's
Go to
gonna be
copy
for
of
District
summary at
Two?
the bottom of that screen.
Yeah, copy of something.
Okay, Julie, what district are you?
No,
Okay, Julie is District 9.
So
If you,
what did you want?
no, I want the total big one that they're talking about, the
Yeah, you just
readjustment to
say 30.
190.
well, hold on, I feel like I'm getting told where to think, hold on one second, cause I was asking him, can we print that other one off that would just, so we can refer back to that $9 million number?
Oh, yeah, and that's what, I'm sorry, Julie, that's what I was trying to get to, and he's got it.
But I don't wanna move from it till we have the other, cause I'll get everything jumbled. So we did that,
No, go back to the, what you just had.
yeah,
Right there, yeah, right there.
430.
But that's increasing property tax.
Right,
Yeah, I wanted to see it on paper, what it would
Right.
actually do.
right. And that's what we need
Now,
to
will
do.
you put it back at the current rate again?
Yeah.
With the city court and the sticker at 150?
Now, on that city court cost there, that's if everybody pays, right? Or,
No, that's based
It's
on the rate.
calculated.
It's based on what we have now, so,
Okay.
if you're spreading, you're probably gonna get a better collection.
Yes.
I mean, we think that there's gonna be better collection.
Very
We
much.
really do,
Yeah.
but Marty kept trying to get me to build that into the model, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what that's.
Yeah, we
And
can't
both of those are with
speculate.
the engineer position pulled out.
Yes, the engineer should be out,
That's in your other. That's what the other is right there.
and here you go, Julie. This is.
No, I've got that. I'm just making my little notes to go back there.
But you had it at 40 though, your proposal for the 60.
I did, because I was trying to compromise with Richard, but on the proposal, I do have the amount for 50.
Okay.
But once we heard about the 100, and I think that's something you're gonna have to think about. But I do strongly feel that we will be gaining at least 300,000 in the year, this coming year, that we will recapture at City Court. So,
Does this have any of the change in the permit fees calculated in it?
Yeah, that's already done.
it's already in.
It's already in.
So are you recommending a tax increase on?
What I would like to do today is get through the pay raises.
No, I did that. That was me.
She was just trying to see the
I
numbers.
wanted to see the
Yeah.
difference in how much you would actually
They're nice
do.
numbers.
They like the spreadsheet, I like it.
So, okay, now if we went back to the tax rate going up to what it
Cover your
was,
sum.
what would be the average? If you have.
Right there,
any
right there.
extra-
Right there.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Okay, Julie, you're 9.
So this is with Richard's,
$198 a month?
A year.
Not
A year.
That's,
God.
yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It is, I don't want to say it's nothing, because I've heard the term fixed income, and we have to be mindful of everyone. And $200 to $300 in my household is still something. So I want us to do.
$16 a month.
A month, yeah.
Okay,
That's 2
now,
Starbucks. And I'm not downplaying you, babe. I'm not trying to push you down. But I'm just saying that is, to get things that people want, $60 a month is insane for what it could fund.
Because the thing is, we can fix this problem today, right? We can fix it today, but we're right back here next year, having the same that we've had for the last 3 years that I've been
Well,
on
that's
council.
our fault, though. I mean, that's on us for,
Yeah,
you know.
it is.
You're right.
handle
It's on
budget.
all of us.
I'm not singling anybody out. I mean,
You're right.
I could have done a lot more myself.
Look, 4% growth does a lot for this budget. I mean, we got 4%, Paul, have you got?
What was the question I was gonna ask is, you know, if you're gonna raise this to cover, you put a growth number in there, whether that's 4.5%, whatever that is. And we're seeing today inflation's up 4.5%, right? So you put a number in there, let's say 4.5% over the next 5 years, and you did something like this. You still gotta be disciplined on that, because those dollars
100%.
don't need to go in, these dollars don't need to go into additional
That's
growth
right.
over and beyond that.
100%.
That's
They
right.
need to go into your capital.
100%.
And so, but the thing is, and I've had conversations with most of you, some of them were long,
We have fun.
some of them were shorter, and I appreciate those. And I've also had some conversations with some other folks in here about some things. And I think the key to this, no matter what, first of all, Marta's proposal is to get you to the next part of the conversation.
That's right.
That is all Marta is proposing, is to get you to the next part of the conversation. But you have got to have that conversation.
And we're
You
not-
can't kick the can, pass the bucket, whatever the thing is, you've got to have that conversation. If you do this, that's a lot, okay? And it would still, I mean, it would solve your immediate problem and the problem for the next couple of years probably. But you would still have to be doing what Paul is talking about. I mean, we did a deep dive on city growth since 2022. 2004. And you know, you look at that number and the average growth for since 2004 was, just look, 2.58%. For the last, since 2020, it's 4 point something percent overall, just year over year. Just there's 13% years and there's some 0.6% years in here. You know what I'm saying? And so, but the cost control, controlling the increase in expense, is literally the solution to this. But now some years, you know that you're going to spend a lot of money on something.
Is this just residential?
That's just
Yes.
residential.
So what would it look like on the commercial
We
side?
have to do a different formula in there.
We'd have to do a whole different.
Right.
They just went and assessed all the residential properties, number by, broken out by districts, so they didn't even count.
And that doesn't do, all it is an average.
That's the
When I was
No,
driving,
yeah, I get that, I know
you're
that. You can't,
Yeah.
there's no way to say this is exactly what it would be.
I want you all again to think about the coming year. So if the council decided they wanted to implement this tax rate, think about each homeowner in all of your all's districts. Next year, I hope that we're gonna be implementing a stormwater fee. And I think we don't need to be shy about that. That's gonna happen. If that is $3, is it okay?
Whatever it is, it's gonna take 1.4 out of general fund. So that's what we have there now. So whatever the 3 to 5, probably somewhere around there per month.
But what it's going to be is $5 per month on their tax rate next year.
21.
So that
On the tax
would
bill.
bill.
It'll be a separate.
To be a separate thing. But for a lot of people in a couple of districts, that's more than they would be paying in property taxes. If you look
On the
at,
increase, on
on
the
all
small,
the
on a
increase,
small increase, yeah.
on a smaller increase, is this Johnny's
No, Johnny's 2.
two?
So that's at a 35% increase there.
Yeah.
So if you go
And
down
that
like
is-
5%.
That is really strong. And when I had talked with Nathan, well, I don't want to put words in Nathan, I will let him speak for himself. Again, I accomplished what I wanted to do today was to get pay raises, and I want to strongly say that we have to look at all of these things that have been mentioned today, and I do want to pay respect to nonprofits. I think it does need longer than a 10-minute conversation. And so, he's got all the numbers, so if you want to look at 3 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents, that you can pull up, look at what it's gonna do to your district. But
What's that?
the 1, 2, 3 is what I'm suggesting today to get through just today. All right, thank you for your help. No applause.
You changed it to 5.
So if you change a nickel raise 1.19 million,
And that would be with the sticker.
Okay,
go back
is
to-
this the 5 cents?
let's go back to the quick figures. There, you can,
369, 612.
I'm gonna set city stickers and court costs back to 0.
No, wait,
Yeah, I would leave it at the 100.
Yeah.
But before we move, is council think that $100?
I'm just going to the rest.
Will you put the city sticker rate back at 50?
Let's see what deliberations
Yeah,
play on
yeah.
secretary.
Yeah, that's good.
That's not right.
I just didn't want to play around and stuff. Nobody's-
It's a 5-cent property tax.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, while everybody's kind of off point and taking notes, let's take a 6-minute break, and I'm gonna set my clock for you to go to the bathroom. Okay, let's get back together. Everybody's been very respectful of each other's time. I'd like to move to, I'd like to move to Councilman Russ. Russ, take the floor. Thank you.
All right, so I'll address revenue first. I get that the
You
big
gotta
pro-
come back together. Sorry, excuse me, thank you.
Yeah, that's-
Apologize.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, so revenue first. The big property tax increase seems like an easy button. And I cannot support a large property tax increase until I feel like we've done everything possible to generate additional revenues and decrease expenses. So the revenue ideas I had, nothing really new. I'd like to raise the city sticker to 50 and then earmark that almost 1.4 strictly to streets. I do not want to see that money go back into the general fund. If we're gonna raise anything as far as revenues go, I would like to see it have a specific purpose, because that's something I feel that we can sell to the public. Here's what you get for this.
Question. Can we, as a council, approve like that one item as an ordinance?
You have to set up, we have to set a special fund for it. So even if we did, so it can't be touched. So even if you would say we're gonna put the capital for roads and line, you as a body could still amend the capital budget later on.
So-
put it in a special revenue fund or enterprise fund, and that can't, that won't be spent for that specific purpose.
And the three revenue,
Can I ask you something?
please.
Okay, so when you said on the city sticker and you make sure that 1.4 went to roads, is that, would you say that we would track it for like the year and then put it in the next budget that 1.4? What if we fell short? Like that's what, how would we navigate that?
Good question, yeah, so I don't think you just get it and spin it right away. I think you do want that first year's accrual. And really, just by my math, I would, because it gives you approximately 2.8 million every other year. And that is a minimal amount. That does not get us
We really need to
much.
get three.
But that gives us, that way we have some kind of money going to that. Hopefully we could have some surplus and whatever else, some windfalls, who knows? And we could have bigger packages, but every other year you've got 2.8 as a minimal amount. You could stagger it out in any other way you want to, but that gives us, at least we have something, because going into this FY 27, I don't know how we're gonna pay roads. And that's unfortunately, thankfully, we've got a big package going out right now, but after we get past this year and this current package, then where's the money for roads? That gives us a minimal amount to do something. I'm gonna go back, I like the idea of using the property tax for the sake of the parks, and for that being specifically the park capital. Thank you for that quick math. That would give park capital just shy of 1.2 million each year. It hurt my feelings when we were unable to agree with consensus to go after the LPRF grant for Goose Park. This would give us opportunities where we can leverage our grants ongoing.
That wouldn't change, I'm sorry, that wouldn't change the fund balance.
No, sorry, it wouldn't.
Okay,
It's
all
just-
Correct.
no, I just want to get the number.
Okay,
So yeah, so if we did that 5 cent for the parks would go to a proprietary fund for park capital. So again, we,
Is that a property?
that's on property tax, yes,
Okay.
yes, like I said. I'm opposed to wide sweeping, like the big numbers, the 196, the 187, the other property tax numbers thrown around, but 5 cents added specifically for park capital, so we can leverage those funds to be grant matching. When I see communities that I have a favorable opinion of, they have cool parks. And some of our parks are kind of cool in certain places and parts of it. However, I think there's a lot more we can get, which would overall enhance the quality of life in our community. The other thing, stormwater fee, I'm gonna continue to support that, but also going into a proprietary stormwater fund. So all three of those, I would like to see those funds go to their own home and not just be dumped into the general fund. The court calls.
Question, and we would
Of
handle,
course.
Mayor, we'd handle that the same way.
Yeah, so the plan is right now, once we get the assessment back in September, then we get October, November-ish by December, to have second reading, so we can go on to the tax assessment. So now FY 27, we'll still pay for stormwater in general fund. FY 28 will go into the special enterprise fund for stormwater, which would, in FY 28, what we have now is 1.43-ish, 2-ish, right now for stormwater. Yeah, now that'll remove from general, we'll talk about when we get there what we need to actually tackle the problem, but that that's just a food for thought. We're gonna remove 1.4-ish FY 28 out of general fund.
I hope that 1.4 will still, we have to have the people that are gonna work on storm
That's
water.
gonna, so that goes, everything will be operated out of that special enterprise
Okay.
fund, just like,
Okay.
just like health and
Right,
sanitation.
I just wanted to make
So
sure that that
people,
1.4,
capital, everything,
that's clear.
standalone special
Yes.
fund. Yeah.
Yes,
The one I did, court costs I had in there too, I didn't spend enough time on that one specifically to come up with a number. Thanks for getting into that, two of you. I support doing more for the court, and that's one that could go back into the general fund because that's ultimately what's paying for that operation.
Right.
Absolutely. So I would love to, I'll support anything, any reasonable increase to our court costs to hopefully defray some of that expense. Hotel, motel tax, whatever we can do there, let's look into it. Again, I would like to, as opposed to another salary study, since we're having struggles with the current salary study, I would like to see a staffing study. I don't know how that washes out, but I would love to
So
see.
we can answer your question, we can do MTAS, JPD did one with MTAS 2 years ago, so we got the number. We haven't made that call yet because it slipped my mind, so you just said it, and Marty told me something about it yesterday, but there are specific consultants in MTAS that will do it for specific departments. I don't know if we get a wholesale one on all the departments, but we could probably start somewhere where we know, hey, we can get that service free, and then we can find the other departments, and then we can do that.
That's great. And what I'm looking at too with my next item is similar to the staffing. Start with our biggest departments and kind of work down kind of the reverse Dave Ramsey, if you will. Start with the biggest departments and whittle it on down as best you can. And if MTAS can help us one at a time, that's even better and saves us money. I visited with the audit committee after the last council meeting, and what I would really like to do is, and this will cost a little money, but I'd like to find someone from outside of the city, outside of MTAS even, a subjective third party that could come in and audit at least our largest departments with the goal of seeing if their revenues are adequate in keeping up with regional competitors, and then also have someone come in with a fresh set of eyes who's detached from what we're doing here and do an expense analysis, an expense audit to see if there are ways, because the problem that I feel we run into is every department feels as if their baby's the cutest. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to live without, everybody wants more. And I don't blame them. Again, as I've said several times, I would be disappointed in any of these department heads who aren't asking for more for their people. I mean, that's who you're there to support. But again, a revenue and expense audit orchestrated by our audit committee would, I think, be lovely, so we can get a fresh set of eyes from outside of City Hall to come in and see what revenue and expense opportunities we have. None of those things none of this affects right now, but FY 28, I don't know what it's going to be like then, but at least we're being good stewards moving forward. As far as expenses today, this is kind of an ongoing thing for me. I failed to find $750 that I could say, boom, let's live without it. But I got a little bit of a start, about 300 short. Help me out, the neighborhood improvement through Ludwig Block, is that where we do the lawn care?
Ludwig Block.
Because there's two donations there, the repair and the neighborhood improvement.
Yeah, neighborhood improvements is the grant program, the mini grants that they run, and then there's Ludwig Block, which is the home repairs and the yard mowing for seniors.
Okay, so I wasn't clear on that. So what I'm looking for with any recommendations on expenses we reduce is going to meet in the middle. I don't think just taking a hatchet and just killing it all is the right answer, but I like the repairs, okay. I don't think we should be cutting people's grass. I understand that it is a hardship and a codes violation on people, but as Frank was saying, where are the churches, where are the neighbors, where are the nonprofits? I think that's when we're people to pull together. If my neighbor is elderly and they have tall grass, I'll take my mower out there myself. While I appreciate the fact that we've offered that service, I don't quite see it as a critical service, but at the same time, I can meet in the middle, leading the repair in there. I had a conversation with Gail Gustafson at the Dream Center, and she was very bothered by the idea of reducing nonprofit funding. However, that's $220 if we take them out for now. Again, go back to a rule I would like to see in place. I don't feel as if I don't think it's fair to us to get into some of these extra services for the sake of the community without a general fund that's 25% or better of the year's budget. So I'd like that threshold, but for now, I would say live without and work toward a day where we can then re-implement some of those charitable type donations. Another one is reducing the symphonies. Again, meet in the middle. I'd like to say, 25, we can be the primary sponsor for the Starlight Symphony. Wonderful event, great for the community. However, removing 50 from their budget, I trust them to be able to make up that. The Max Guard deal with Rec and Park, I think we need to pursue that. That would save us approximately 40,000. Now, that's gonna be another one that's hard to like kick into effect day one, but if we get it going into the year and say just 25,000, we've done a good job there. Outsourcing engineering temporarily, I do like the idea of looking for, perhaps a younger engineer that could be a long-term fix. However, if we can outsource it, save a little money there. Question mark, but that's another one with some potential. This will be a bit unpopular, but a couple of positions that did not previously exist until grant funding showed up. The financial empowerment director, that would save us approximately 90,000 in salary and benefits. When that program started, Lauren Kirk was essentially in charge of it through the Office of Innovation or whatever it was, however it was organized at the time. We then relieved her of that duty and created a full-time position for the director. And I think we can essentially live without that director's position while still funding it and allowing the United Way to continue that work because it is a good service. We just eliminate the person on our payroll. And then the neighborhood specialist, I would save approximately 70,000. And with that one, what I would like to look at too is, from where I stand, I believe there's money in the health and sanitation budget where you could move, keep Jackson beautiful, and then we could revive the recycling coordinator, consolidate that into one position and have it working out of health and sanitation's budget. With those two positions, this is not about the people in the positions, this is about the positions themselves and their expenses. And my hope would be, if those positions did go away, or any other position for that matter, we would do everything within our power to take those people and put them into currently vacant roles within the city. I'm not saying get rid of people, the positions did not exist prior to the Financial Empowerment Center or Lufkin Block. They were created when the grant funding ran out for Lufkin Block specifically. We then absorbed that. And that's just the growth of government. Those are two easy ones. I hate to pick on them. This is ongoing for me. I come up with approximately 470,000 with these ideas I've shared. There's more in there, and I will continue to look for it. I just don't have time with the deadline we've imposed on ourselves to fund the current budget and the step raises with it. I do want us to button this up, and then we can work through August if we need to for additional expenses or revenues. But I do want to make sure that people do get the step raises that we aim to give them. Another idea, I don't know if there's much that we could offload. However, one specifically, I'm not a fan of the city being in the golf business. I voted no on the item last month to spend the money on the new pump. I would like to shop around, eliminate the expense, and if we get a reasonable sell out of it, then that's something that we can decide what to do then, whether it be general fund or another project. I'd like to get out of the golf business, and I'd also like to see us work as hard as we can to see if there's any other facilities that we could live without. Not that people are clamoring about the Civic Center. No offense, Chuck and JP, but we need to explore ideas like that. Service merchandise is another one that if we can get something back from it, maybe have someone else buy the property and tear it down. If there's opportunities like that, let's pursue it. But yeah, ultimately, I think the best idea I can give you, other than what I shared today, or what I've already shared today, is I want to see us do everything we can to, in a fair manner, get the most revenues we can out of the way things currently are. But then I'd like to see someone come in and help us identify someone third party, independent of city government, to come in and help us look at to audit the expenses of at least our largest departments, ideally all departments, and see if there's any monies that we can save this year, and then have those monies saved ongoing minus the expense of the audit. So,
So the numbers you rattled off, I got 555.
well,
If that includes cutting all nonprofit. Did you mean to get?
okay, I left one thing out, thank you.
Okay.
The 75,000, I would leave 75,000 for events. That was something I shared last time, where I do like us having buying the table to these events, sponsoring a golf team, being a gold sponsor at the 5K or whatever else that may be.
So it's not a full 220,
The way I understand it, so
480 is what I got when I did what you did.
So, yeah, I thank you for pointing that, I'd let that part out, yeah, that's, again, meet in the middle as best we can. Let's keep a presence, however, the other thing about the nonprofits, when you look at this list, there's a lot of nonprofits who aren't getting these big checks. So I feel like it's kind of unfair that we give to these, but not these. And, it's been an arbitrary process, and I would get rid of it across the board for now.
That was, just, I think you and I talked about this, that was one of the reasons they went through the application process this year, because it did seem somewhat.
Well, again, I think a 25% general fund to expense budget, I think that would be a comfortable threshold. If we can meet that, then we can bring in the applications again. However, until we get healthier, I don't think it's fair for us to, because we're not filling up our own cup. We're pouring from an empty cup in certain areas, and it's not fun, it's not pleasant, but yeah, I think we need to fill our own cup before we can get back to pouring in others.
So I don't want to direct Marta's conversation, but, so I dumped in your 480K right there, which is what I got.
Right.
We're still looking for $266,000.
That's correct.
Do you have a?
Well,
Not
he
today.
did say go up on the city sticker and go up on the court
Yeah,
costs.
but the city sticker doesn't hit the general fund line at all, because it's all going to road.
Yeah, for any additional revenues, outside of whatever we can do with city court. Yes, I mean, that itself would actually work, so that could shore up, the amount that I'm short.
I'm gonna say something, and I don't want anybody here to take it the wrong way. Anything less than about $500,000 in that change in fund balance is not a number. You understand what I'm saying, Larry? It's a positive number right now, but it can be negative just like that, yeah.
Well, and to some of the comments that have been made, this is my best Band-Aid for today.
Yeah.
This is the third budget cycle in a row with this collective. Yeah, it's been a similar conversation. Quite frankly, I'm tired of it. I want to see all of us in council. I mean, it's, which is hard. I mean, we hear these stories, we get these budgets, but it's hard to really know with the amount of exposure time we have. It's hard to know what the real story is. So I challenge everyone involved. Let's get some help from the outside. But we as council members too, let's walk the walk. Let's really be about it. And listen, if we go through this next year and we're preparing the next budget, and we've done all these things, we've tried our best to eliminate expenses and drive reasonable revenues. If we have to hit the property tax button, then I would be in support of it. I can't support a big property tax increase today. I feel like there's a lot more that all of us can do to reduce expenses, to drive revenues, and to hopefully offset some of this with better habits and healthier habits that can carry us to the future.
Just a couple clarifying, you mentioned KJV, that's already in solid waste, that savings, I think you had mentioned that just in case. Also, on the financial empowerment director, Center for Financial Empowerment, United Way won't partner with us if we have that position. It's contractually required if you run that center to have a city staffer.
Is it required that we have a full-time staffer? Because when Lauren was that person 4 years ago,
Yeah.
she was not full-time.
That I don't know, but we have to have a person.
I did ask Lauren that question, and that person in that position just has to be someplace in the municipality.
Sure.
Okay.
They have to be.
So yeah, you have to have a person that is the coordinator for the contractual for the partnership.
Well, we did that before, so I would hope that, and again, that's, any positions eliminated, I don't want that to be people eliminated.
But that program is funded in other counties through United Way.
The counties fund it, the municipalities fund it for that county.
Well, not every county.
That's right.
And here's the thing, I mean, when we carried these projects from grant funding into general funding, it was okay. And we could afford some luxuries back then. And I'm not scrutinizing the positions. And honestly, I feel like, if we had time to dig deeper into all the departments, then we could either find, some rearranging to do, or some positions we could live without. I mean, that's, we talked about the attendance at the rec and park facilities. You know, I think there's some opportunity there, and that's why this is a Band-Aid for today. However, the real mission is to work on this ongoing and hopefully in perpetuity.
I just wanted, you had mentioned the KJV, I didn't know if I caught what you were saying correctly, so I just wanted to make sure you knew that that's already reflected in solid waste. And then
Which is paying a portion of.
Chantel South.
Right. So I would say, if you could move her in health and sanitation and then put the recycling coordinator on top of that, then you have someone whose paycheck remains the same, they're not losing a job. And yeah, I mean, the same thing for Tyler. Let's do our best to find a home for him. Just not in that specific position.
JP has a question.
Yeah, and this specifically, I guess it would be for you, Russ, Ms. Kelby, Ms. Wallace, because I'm processing hearing what you're saying, that you don't want a property tax increase. But I would also, technically, city sticker is a tax. It's a tax. So to increase that, $25 would be a tax increase. I'm coming at it from the standpoint of, if we're gonna rip the Band-Aid off, let's just rip it off. And that's why I'm not opposed to a city sticker increase and a small. I mean, the county's 187. We're way below what the county rate is. We can put a Band-Aid on it today, or we can be proactive and say, well, you don't have to go to 196, we don't have to go to what Richard proposed. But if we're so anti-tax, I guess my question is, what's the difference between the city sticker and the property tax?
Yeah, I'm glad to answer that. So, feed tax is made up from money. It's the same thing. It's a matter of what you want to call it. We can call it fee, we can call it tax, whatever. So the point that was mentioned earlier, so 51% of the properties in the town are owner-occupied. So you're only hitting about half the people with a property tax increase. That's not an equitable distribution. A city sticker, I mean, everyone who drives the streets and puts wear and tear on them, well, that's part of it. So that gives us some money to not keep up with it, but to have something for street resurfacing. That is an equitable distribution, because whether you own or rent, you most likely drive. Did you have something?
I was gonna, you can imagine I've had this conversation about property tax and city stickers, fees versus taxes. Actually, we talked about that for 30 minutes yesterday. But eventually, a renter is going to be affected by a property tax increase.
Right, they'll raise the rents.
Yeah. I mean, so to say that they're not affected.
Not as affected.
Okay, eventually. Of course, some people don't, then the property gets.
And that rent doesn't go into the city.
Well, I don't really feel as if government's the one to be policing rents. It's just,
right.
That's a slippery slope.
JP, I respect the fact about pulling the Band-Aid off. I just wanted to get to a place where we have to do the payroll increases. And then I think, even for nonprofits, I wanted to show them the respect more than just the 10 or 15 minutes today. I think we need to pull that sheet up there, and I might even disagree with Russ that if it was no nonprofits, I would say, I think it deserves more than just our 10 or 15 minutes today. So the tax increase, it could be, but my goal today was just for us to achieve what we had to achieve. And then let's really tackle these big issues and come up with, hey, we need 6 cents, we need 5 cents. But when we do that, I don't want it to just go into, we've got, I'm gonna say that fire is my number one in infrastructure. Because I feel like the police, I'm right there with you all. You've always, every time you've heard me speak, but I feel like we made some adjustments. I feel like it's adjustments that fire might need. And if you look on my paper, I just said my starting points.
Yeah.
So.
And I know we gotta hear from Julian and
Julie,
Johnny.
I know y'all sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, now let's pause and stop right there if we may, because it is District Gates turn to speak,
I
so.
just spoke.
Could I just
Okay,
address
yeah.
one of his, because I had a phone call about this, on the park closing. They suggested we talk to Tony Black and get his idea on it, because there's a lot of things going on there and some things that they do for not showing up in contract. And I just wanna make sure that we don't jump into this fight on that.
Well, with all due respect to Tony Black, I don't think he's talking with Rec and Park anymore.
All right.
Christie is,
well,
the closest thing we have, and she's the one that presented that idea to us.
Okay, so you said where they could all be closed around the same time. Would we hire somebody to do that, one person, or use our current staff? Or?
Well, ideally, what the proposal was 3 to 4 part-time staff. MaxGuard does close right now. I'm not sure how many people they use. Our parks close at 10. The majority of the time, MaxGuard does not get to any of our parks at 10. Sometimes Kate Campbell, it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
If you look at it, that's
Places,
fine.
it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
I just wanted to bring it up, that I didn't make sure we jumped into a fire and said, well, they come out at 2 o'clock because somebody's in there or anything, but.
From what Christie's put together, it seems as if we get more efficient service out of that while saving approximately $40,000 a year. And that's not a swipe at MaxGuard, it's expensive to outsource, where if you can do something in-house, you'll find savings.
And like I said, we wouldn't be completely in that contract,
Yeah.
because we still use them for securing events that we have in our parks. But it would bring that in-house, it would be more efficient. It would have, they would stock, they would clean the bathrooms, they would, have things ready,
More
for the next
efficient.
month.
And the last thing let's move to do, the last thing I wanna say is, ideas like that, I think there's a lot more of those across all departments. And this is what I want us to really dive into and see if we can find little things like contractual services, overtime, this, that, the other, whatever opportunities may be, let's really get to digging and put in a strong effort to make that happen.
Any other questions for Russ? Russ, I think you did a good job. I think everybody has. Julie, with, Councilwoman Julie, can we hear from you, please?
I'm playing with numbers or looking at numbers right now, but every single person just about that's here, some of it I'm kind of taking what you wrote in your.
Oh, and yeah, can you give him, we read it,
Oh, you said on here like a tax increase is never popular, but maintain a strong, so all these things, so you know that there somewhere we gotta put in some tax money, get some tax money revenue, right? You agree with that statement? Is that what you meant by that, or did you mean something else?
Well, we've been having this discussion, like I said, over the years, and basically, I just left Nashville, for the directors meeting, and they was talking about the state as far as, putting a cap on property tax. And we still was talking about as far as the more we keep on not raising taxes, we're gonna continue to do the same problem. And that's why we had to borrow this money this last time, and so when you don't raise your taxes, that's when you create that problem where you're gonna have to start borrowing money.
But part of the problem has been, we've added things that are very expensive, that is cost, maybe the cost of government.
But also, and I want Johnny to be able to finish, also, the way we have funded our city for the last 20 years without raising taxes, every 2 or 3 years, we borrow money.
Everything's gone.
I even
Borrow
asked,
money.
why can't we do it every 2 to 3 years, and it has to be each council's year decision? I thought it would be good for corporations to know, you move to Jackson, Tennessee, you're gonna have 3% every X amount of years.
So basically what I was going there, and we kind of took the long way around, was everybody in here seems like we're gonna have to raise something to get everybody's okay, except really honestly Larry. And so, and, I don't see why we're not looking at doing something like putting the tax rate at 1.75, doing that with the court fees, the stickers. And if we're gonna eliminate the engineer position, then why are we not going ahead and eliminating the auditor position? And then I think that the whole idea of tax payments and installments that Richard brought up was really good, because if we get it at that 1.75, I mean, that is a very small amount monthly that somebody could pay in to make the difference. Of course, I think that we should have the stormwater going and doing that tax. I think that we need to go up on hotel motel tax. I know that's things coming up, but I'm not sure why we're not adopting.
Question, that's a You have to get that
Yeah,
approved
that's
by the
up to
state.
state.
Yeah, and that's something that we've said we were gonna start working towards. We always say what we're gonna work towards, but then we get past a hurdle and it's like it's out of sight, out of mind, and we never work towards it. I am just as guilty. I'm not saying that on one side by any means. But I feel like we've gotta build back our fund balance. We know we've got stuff going, and to just do a very small raise on just stickers and court costs is not gonna get us where we need to be, and we're gonna be back in here next year.
Can I push back on that just a bit?
Absolutely.
Because if you take, city sticker, you do 5 cents for parks, stormwater fee, increase your court costs, that doesn't affect us for the budget we're working on today. However, when we get to next year's budget, then all of a sudden we have room, you could have $6 million from all those things collectively.
Not if we're assigning them to go to certain things, like just parks, just proprietary fund for stormwater. And we've got other stuff that's gonna come up, we're gonna have to pay for. If all that money's gone to specific line items, then we're not really, essentially.
We're still alleviating approximately 6 million of things that we need to do. You are correct, it won't entirely be operations, but, playgrounds, streets.
I'm more worried about the streets than I am playgrounds, and that may be unpopular as well, but, I mean, I'm more worried about stormwater and streets, because I'm pretty sure everybody in here, those are the things we get hounded on, and police and their needs and first responder needs more than, my kid didn't like their time on the seesaw, and I'm not saying that to discredit you, but I'd rather see us get some of the big things we really need to get addressed, and then why can we not do both? Why can we not say the 5 cents of it go to parks, and then this much of it go here and go there, instead of just saying, well, we're only gonna do 5 cents in property tax, and we're gonna give it all to the parks, why not do 10 and break it down?
You projected the growth with new homes, new industry. How does that?
Most of our growth, I mean, you are growing, but like your biggest things, they're 10-year projects. I mean, the crossing is a 10-year project.
But they start over a 10-year, there's 10% that year and 10% the next year.
I don't think so. I don't think on all of them, because I think,
And the thing.
isn't there a TIF in place with the crossings? So
Yeah.
it's not really,
20-year tip in place.
yeah, it's not
That's not the
anything we're
only
actually
thing.
touching seed for a long time.
On the tips, you're gonna get any property tax. So you increase the rate, you're gonna get anything that goes to your debt service. So you increase the rate, that debt service proportion is not included in the tip calculation. So you'll get money for debt service. But otherwise, those dollars will go towards those public improvements. Yeah.
It's like
We won't touch them.
The other side of the coin with growth is like with the project we're hopeful for out around the ballparks, the big tourism item. Yeah, that's going to require a fire department, and you're with all the people you're bringing in, you're gonna be beating up the infrastructure that's already in place a lot more. As we grow out toward the airport, same thing. We need a fire department out there at some point in the
Which is
not
why I
so
think we're
distant
gonna
future.
be, that's why I think we're gonna have to be
Yes.
stronger in the revenue
Yes, this
bring in,
question.
because we know it's coming.
Let me ask this question, because I think we're at a place here where myself, Julie, Johnny, and Richard, we've got 4. Is there any movement amongst you, the rest of council, to say you would do what Julie's proposed? Because it seems like we've got 4. We just need, no offense, we'd say we need 1 more. I'd love for us to all be on the same page, but it doesn't seem like we're gonna get there today. But it seems like, is there any movement among you guys for what Julie is proposing?
I would say no for me today, because I do want to dig, and for the nonprofits, I want to give them more than 10 or 15 minutes.
I didn't say anything about the nonprofits, actually.
Yeah, that's still funds.
Yeah, so they would be funded.
You think so?
With that, yeah.
With how that's set in, that's what I'm saying, they would still be funded. Now, granted, do I think that there's some areas where we can shave down? Yes, but if we went on ahead and started getting certain things in play, we can still shave down once we've got things in play and move other parts around.
For me, where there's no movement, where I don't get any movement is to Band-Aid this thing today and to use Johnny's term, kick the can down the road and say, we're gonna do better next year. We've been saying that for 3 years.
and we haven't.
So you guys are basically fundamentally trying to do one of two things. Several of you, 4 of you, it sounds like, want to show some movement toward doing this. Marta's proposal is basically, I'm not gonna say the phrase, but it is a Band-Aid this year with the assumption.
It is a
For
Band-Aid
today,
for
only.
today.
For today.
And then
With
our
the
next
assumption-
meeting start meeting.
With the assumption we would,
The Band-Aid only, then we schedule a special call, we get the budget passed for us locally, so we can get our employees, get the raises, and then we don't have to submit the budget until August 31st, and then we got time to do some more.
to make sure I understand just the big picture, in all of these or any of these situations, you guys want to continue to do the work that Russ is talking about, no matter what, right? As far as isolating and working on efficiency improvements, you want to do that. I mean, that's in every conversation you're having, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just
know that we've got bigger fish that we're gonna have to fry in the next couple of years. If we don't start preparing for it now and putting some back in that fund balance, we're gonna be looking at each other. Well, we're not, because I won't be here, but, yeah.
It doesn't remediate
I will be looking at you. but
any of
there are
the
cameras
mold in our fire stations, or, any of the,
You don't have any police cars in
you don't have any police cars.
Yeah, we've got too much other stuff.
That's my concern with us saying, well, we don't want to raise. I think we have done in some semblance where we looked and said, okay, this is what we want to cut here, we want to cut there. But we're just not, we're not there. And that's concerning to me. There's not a police car in it, there's nothing to take care of the mold in our fire stations, there's nothing, we're not addressing.
But I mean, I'm still with, like, on some of the stuff, like, I think that we could find something way better than our Max Guard deal. But I think that's where after we get something we get this is what we're gonna do, this is the projected money we come in, okay, now let's go, let's start going through those cuts. Let's start getting things done. I don't think we need to lose people that are employees here, but maybe we shift around at the same time. But I mean, there are some things that I know that we could do better on, but we need to know what our projected fund balance is gonna be, because we're going to prepare for the coming years.
Well, the other thing that I want to remind us of is, I do believe this work is ongoing, and we all need to do a better job moving through this next year, getting ready for the next budget. Yeah, I mean, I gave you my best Band-Aid, and it's, that's really what it is. Yes, whatever we pass is, I don't think we've had a single budget that has finished the way it started. So I mean, this is a living document that we can work on and modify throughout the year. And one more thing I want to point out, Paul and Marta will remember this, Johnny too. 2019, coming in with the new Mayor Conger.
Yeah.
It was a very similar, if not more stressful position. COVID, in a weird way, did help us out a lot. It's kind of crazy because we fought through these struggles 5, 6, 7 years ago. I remember buying, Nate and I talked about this, buying cars from the Missouri State Police for JPD, used police vehicles. That was the best we could do at the time. And one of the things that we did at that time is we did eliminate some positions, we eliminated some people, and shuffled some things around. And I mean, it kind of sucked, but we did what we had to do, and we got to a really good spot. However, we have run into a hiccup with revenues based on the expenses, and we've undone a lot of progress. I mean, I'm not saying we don't take that big swing at the tax rate at some point. I remain unconvinced that we've done everything we could internally and with additional help. I want to make sure that we do a real concerted effort to save every penny we can before we go out and ask taxpayers for more.
I misspoke earlier. We gotta turn in a budget, right? But the tax rate is what has to be turned in August 31st. We can amend the budget throughout the year.
That's right.
So I misspoke. It's just, we gotta finalize the tax rate by the 31st.
That's why I'm saying let's meet that middle instead of the big swing we got, and then we roll through and we start really shaving it, and we can build that fund balance back up quicker.
So, I don't want to lead your conversation, but so is there, I mean, you asked the question, is there comfort in some amalgamation of some of this and what I mean, $1.75, you didn't get any takers. Is there a number that somebody would be comfortable with there?
I wanted to see it on paper, like what is,
can you-
basically like in every 5 cent increment, what are we putting back in there?
Right, well, I mean,
into
Bob
the
says
fund
it's
balance,
one
Julie?
million.
Basically a
1
million and
point,
four.
over that, oh, it's over a million.
It's like a million and four, isn't it? Close?
No,
It's
it's
about
like-
240,000 a penny.
Yeah, it's
So-
like 1.2 million is 5
Okay.
cents.
So that's why when I went, I asked you, 170, 175,
Yeah, it's
but
one
my
point,
five, stuff like nine.
it's 1.19 is what I figured.
Yeah.
It's 1.2.
What are you looking at for fund balance going into this? Is that 2 to 4 million we found included in it now? What is our
That's
fund
if
balance?
we change the city sticker and court costs
No, I mean, we're looking at ending the year probably at
right now.
probably 15 and a half million is probably where we're gonna end up.
And that, and
maybe
you got,
15.6.
how much revenue did we get unexpected here last month?
The last month, I don't
Or two,
know.
2 million?
Yeah, I mean, there's not any huge unexpected revenue the last couple of months, but we did have some earlier in the year.
I thought we was talking about 2 to 4 million.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got the big chunk, we're gonna get a big business tax payment, we're gonna get a big, TVA's stuff comes in the last of the month. I mean, there's a couple of those that'll fit in, but those are expected, the unexpected money we've already
So
got.
that is included in the budget.
Yeah.
Oh, can I address one of your points, Julie?
Yeah, I mean,
The reason I am stern on an internal auditor is one of the things that Russ brought out and the commitment of the audit committee to being able to help each department, where we've been 5 years. Let me rephrase that. With the job descriptions and the person, whoever is hired, has to come to the audit committee and we look at them and they have to give us a report. What department did you work with? What did you find?
and I understand that from our other conversations, but my thing is, we're in this mess and we had an auditor most of that time. And
That's
so,
right.
put it on what, but if we're gonna eliminate one, why not eliminate two? And so it's just, this is a personal thing, it's not a, you're not gonna change my opinion on that type of
Yeah.
situation. I've listened, I've heard, but if we're gonna do one, then let's do the other and get that savings and then later go back to it.
Can she speak to you, Julie?
Absolutely, but.
Thank you. And I think what we have to look at is we're starting, looking at a new position. And so you cannot base, future performance on what somebody did in another position.
It's
What
not a
we're
new
looking at,
position.
You know, what the person who did, who was in the
A new
position
employee?
before, yes. What we're looking at, and if the auditor's position functions as it should, and we're anticipating it will, that position helps us to eliminate waste and increase efficiencies in each department, by conducting, periodic audits in those departments to help us work, smarter and leaner.
So
And
we weren't doing periodic audits then?
No,
Not effectively.
No.
no.
And that's one of the problems, you know, kind of going back on the internal auditor position, why, because originally I was ready to just cut it and say, let's live without it. But yeah, we didn't really have a functioning audit committee when we first hired the, internal auditor either. So
right.
I feel like we did not maximize that opportunity the last time around, and I do have confidence in our audit committee to work with that position and get more out of it this time, for it to be a total, well, not totally, but a better outcome.
I think with the budget committee and the audit committee, again, we're gonna address those things, Julie, but I just want to say that one statement. I think it's gonna make a big difference.
But you know, guys, the same thing that you're saying right now is the same thing every department can come in and say, well, we've already talked about moving people out of it.
Cut, but it's not
And
just.
but you're
cut.
connected to it, and I'm not being ugly, like, I'm not trying to be ugly or cut anybody short, but, you know, there's other departments that we said, well, y'all said eliminate those positions, but those people feel strongly, you should feel strongly, you're connected to it. I just think if we're really trying to shave and cut down, and we're gonna have to disagree on this.
Right, I think that.
And I'm gonna disagree all by myself on my own island, and that's fine.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine, but I just want you to understand, this is a global position that will be working with every department.
I understand that.
Rather than each department, you know,
I understand
speaking
that.
for itself. So we're anticipating that some of the same questions that you're asking now, some of the same issues that you're looking at now will be the issues that we will be looking at, with each department, just looking for those efficiencies.
We
We're
do those also
anticipating-
in budget. So, I mean, we're just gonna have to disagree, and I hear you, and I appreciate you, but we're gonna have to disagree.
Thank you.
On this Bex card.
Well,
Okay.
so that was, so I think kind of, yeah, brings back the big picture. Maybe. We were talking about doing the work, you know, we don't have to, budget's a living document, I think you said that, Russ, living document, we can do the work. If we don't wanna dip into fund balance to cover the employee raises, then we can look at city sticker court costs and then keep the rate what it is, the tax rate what it is now. And then looking at, that's an additional
You need
$450.
the other.
No,
You may put my other back in there.
yeah, put the 100 back in there. Okay, so then that's $1 million right there, because we're looking at 500 already. So that's close to it. Is that right?
And that would get you by.
No, step rates included, I'm sorry. It's gonna be the end of the day, I don't think paying bills during the day, so it's things
I mean,
coming in.
that is essentially Marty's proposal, right?
Yeah.
That would get you, that would.
That would get us to, and then we could also, if you all, council as a collective, not opposed to this, we set out the call meeting, we have to publish the ordinance, tax rate stays the same in the ordinance. We can also at that time create 2 ordinances to adjust city sticker and court costs. And then those can both be read at 23rd and potentially, provided it's approved, 25th. That way those are both going to effect all on July 1. And then we can still do the other work beyond that.
And then you can come back, you could actually, you could literally completely jettison that budget, because you were correct, sir. I don't have to turn that into August 31st.
That's
Right, turn
what I
budget in,
have
but
been.
so as far as finalizing it, right? Because like we still do budget minutes throughout the year.
Yeah, but-
We can amend it, but the rate,
Right.
that's the only thing that can't
You're
change.
right.
I don't have to send a
It's
detailed budget till August 31st.
Yeah, okay.
That's
So-
what I was going.
But the mayor's point, we have to turn in our rate.
The tax rate by August 31st.
31st.
Right, that can't change for the rest of the year after August 31st. You get tax notices out, it has to go out
Right.
by October.
Now, if we do this today, though, I want a commitment that we put a date down and everybody comes back, if they would, with a written amount, like JP sent an amount. If you don't really wanna put it in the email, at least just send it to Nathan. So that way we can really finalize if it needs to be a 5%, a 10%, property tax. If it, let's put it down and work through the process and make it happen.
Also, it seems like 5 Central Park's real popular, because I'm the only one who said anything about it. I think I have to get that one out. I feel strongly about it, because like I said, I'm disappointed that we were not able to leverage that grant for the Muse Park project. But I am pretty adamant about the city sticker. I don't want that money going back into the general fund. I want it to be in its own special fund. Because that's, again, for me, anything that we're going to increase, I don't think it's fair to the taxpayers unless we have a specific home for it.
So, we were speaking with Councilwoman Wallace yesterday, and she was very adamant about the same thing. And my answer to her yesterday is that if you're trying to be equitable about some of this, in this moment, not forever, but just in this moment, the people seem to like the city sticker rate better than they like the property tax, because it's, everybody drives, that's the, you guys can change this. You can change it up until August 31st, but at the moment, just getting us to the next part of the conversation, I think is what Councilwoman Wallace is trying to do. And next year, you can dedicate $25 of the city sticker to roads, or you can dedicate $40 if the budget will support it. Now, and I was talking about this with Councilman earlier, before Councilman Dodd came in. The statutory scheme that allows you to actually do vehicle registration requires it to be used for transportation or for roads. Now, most of that money that currently we spend, it does go into the general fund, but our 6-3 date is about $4.2 million in expense. And so, I know what you're thinking. You want to see it spent specifically on this. I know that, but statutorily, we're already offsetting the cost of operating those departments. But back to the first part of that conversation, I love I don't know if you care what I think, but I love the idea of taking those city stickers and putting it in asphalt. I mean, that makes good sense. But in her moment right now, I think she's just trying to get to the middle part of the conversation.
And I am strongly that $3 million a year for just pavement is the least that we can do. So
That's what we were doing prior,
Yeah,
when we were doing that, borrowing money every 2 years,
Yeah.
back for however long.
So we have to devote And we're just gonna, again, I'm saying trust the process, but we have to make the process, and I don't wanna sound like a big record, but I just should have taken this upon myself earlier, but I've been saying it for several years, but I'm just adamant that we are gonna continue this process further. And I've talked to Paul enough and Frank enough that budget committee is capable, and Miss Martha and I've had conversations, the audit committee. I think we need to give ourselves the best chance we can by working together and really trying to solve this problem. So.
We're back to square one in a way, and ultimately, you know, the mission that we're all working for today is figuring out what are we gonna vote on in this ordinance that at least the majority of us can agree on. And that's the challenge, is how, we can meet until we're blue in the face.
Okay, let's go around
I
that.
did make a list of the things that most people did agree on, and everybody, I mean, there are things that just about everybody but one agrees on.
Okay, so who wants city sticker increase?
Well,
This-
even on paper, everybody,
Okay,
except for,
I'm raising my hand, I wanna increase, I think it's equitable. Does anybody else wanna say yes, or no? Is anybody-
Yeah.
I'd raise the city sticker.
I mean,
Okay, all right.
Okay, that's gonna go to roads only.
No.
Is it?
It,
Not one
right
item.
now, a portion
Right
of it
now.
Okay.
probably can't, but that would need to be digging, and then
Okay.
next year, he needs to do the math. How
So I
much
make my
can
point,
they?
and my point is that road money's gonna go to general fund.
It already does.
I know it does.
So we
Okay,
go and put it
here's-
into a
here's
special
something-
fund.
For road maintenance out of general fund.
Yeah.
Which, yes, I mean, there's,
I just wanted them.
we're patching potholes, we're fixing the traffic lights. JPD's a big part of streets when you have that conversation. So yeah, it's all part of the stew. But yes,
What?
I'm a broken record here, but yeah, I would like to see, so we have an appetite to increase the city sticker. You know, there's a little bit 40, 50, what do we do there? But yeah, I think really the thing to determine there is the increase to the general fund, or does it go to a proprietary fund?
If you
We
go,
agree that the court cost thing is a no-brainer though.
yes,
Well,
that's
yeah,
the next
court
one,
calls.
yes,
I do have some reservations about the city sticker.
okay.
Just because there's more to it. That's not the only cost, because I forget, what is it typically,
25.
25?
25, we just renewed.
That adds on to already,
The state and county registration.
yeah. So it's going to be an increase that people, when they pay their fees, their stickers, they'll feel that, and just for the ability to drive. Now, granted, I'm like Larry and others that should go to streets.
No,
But I
I
have a
vote
little
for it,
hesitance
yeah.
about increasing the sticker.
Are you
The whole
referring to
way.
the burden that it would place on people?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it just, when they go, just to be able to drive their car and get a sticker, I think with some people to write that check, it will be a difficult
It
thing.
is, and I felt that way last year, and I still do, and I really respect you. How do you increase without cutting and cutting how we are going to function as a city? What is the most equitable way to do it? And that is the only thing that I can come up with that spreads it around to 100% of the people that live in Jackson. I don't want to do it, I'd rather not do anything, but I'm committed that we have to do better.
Oh, I understand that, and I'm completely behind the raises.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Yes. From there, I want to tread lightly, and if there was going to be a change, court costs, number one.
Okay.
The second that I could live with could possibly be a city sticker rate increase,
Okay.
and then I don't know if I can handle a tax increase.
Okay, so let's go back, can we just flip to my little 1, 2, 3?
Now, I'm going to leave here in a little bit.
Okay, well, just look at this real quick. Okay, city sticker, if you did do 40, that's 20.
Yeah, on that, he's on the spreadsheet he just had.
Yep, 25 to 40.
There it is right there.
Okay, well, I guess in my brain it doesn't, because I know I have to go to the bottom number and just say, what's it gonna give you, what's it gonna put? Okay,
So
there it is.
basically, it's 400 and something.
City's gonna give you 831,000.
Mhm.
Court cost will give you 369. Carving out that city engineer saves you 100,000. And so there's your total additional revenue cost savings just from those three things.
And that gives you 555, which you said 500,000 is essentially nothing.
Well, it's pretty close to, 500,000 is pretty close to something. But much less than that, much less than that, you're 100,000.
But I mean, we can cook into the argument that stormwater impacts our streets as well.
Yes, it
Percent
does.
increase.
So I mean, it's
And
a
that's
big
gonna be a
spend.
big
We
fee.
went
It's gonna be a
negative.
big fee.
I just, one of the things,
Negative.
one of the
We
things.
went
that-
down.
All right, let's get back
It's a
together. Russ
negative
has the
growth.
floor, and then let's hear what Paul and Larry said. Russ, finish your statement, please.
Yeah, one of the things that occupies my mind when I'm not looking at just this, but ongoing, is I want there to be something for streets, you know, because when we looked at, when we had our FY 23 budget, you know, one of the things that we discussed with capturing, the reappraisals was taking
Yeah.
2 million approximately, and earmarking it just boom straight to
So
streets.
right now, in this budget that is proposed, there's 500,000. It's in, I think it's operating supplies, but it's for asphalt.
Right.
It is.
Yeah, through, this
I know,
budget.
well, I wasn't gonna say it, because, but that is right. We do have a
That's for our
500,000
in-house crew now.
increase.
They're
For
limited
roads.
because they don't have a miller, they can literally just overlay.
I
And
was
so
told not to say
But then
that.
that's, as a collective, puts us closer to, you know, with a 50-cent city sticker going to the streets, then you're moving up to like 2 million a year for streets. And then that's not ideal, obviously. I mean, I wish we had 5 million a year for streets, but that, we at least have something that we can count on in perpetuity.
I 1000% agree. I remember that conversation. My goal is gonna be 3 million for streets. But let's get back to what can we do today to just get us to the 27th? We have to do this. Okay, the 23rd.
I'm gonna be uncomfortable saying that I'm gonna commit to anything today unless we already have another day where we decide where we're gonna get further into this.
I'm 100%. Let's do that right
I
now
gotta
then.
pick the day first to get into
Wait,
it, then we'll go back to it.
What if we dedicate our next,
Work session.
work session to that? Yeah, it's,
I wanted us to have a plan with the budget committee, because the budget committee has asked for what our goals are. And I have, Marquisha helped me with that, I have them written down. So if our next work session, we say, I want to find 4 million for a fire station, I want to find 3 million for a road, then whatever those goals are, we are tasking the budget committee to help us with it, to help us.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If the budget committee finds a way and we say we're gonna do it by raising this and doing that, are you guys gonna suffice, or are we gonna be right back in here doing this again?
I'm on the budget committee. You also.
Yeah, no, I'm asking Marta.
Oh, okay.
If we say, okay, here's the goals that y'all have, and we found ways to fund it, are you gonna just blindly do it? Well, no, we're gonna be back in here doing this.
But at least, can we not, I mean, let me think how that.
Because a lot of people say this is council's budget, then doesn't all the council need to be in on it?
All right, you need to put up
Ideally.
then what are roles and responsibilities. I've been digging into the charter, I've been digging into what some people think, so
I just feel like saying that about the budget committee is putting it off on the 3 people on the budget committee and then being like, well, I didn't know about that, and it just,
No.
we end up right back here every single year. And
That's,
it's
that's why we
frustrating.
have, I so agree, because Paul can attest to, I kept saying, I want a report, I want a report, I want a report. So if we say we're gonna work with them, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but should we at this time say what the council's true job
Yeah,
is
we're
supposed to
gonna,
be?
so, I'm waiting on the email to go through, because I got the 45-second delay built in there, so.
And
don't see
Julie,
the
I
emails to the
so
wrong
respect that, because I feel like I've set it up there every year.
But
But I should have made it, I should have said, okay, next month,
No offense, but we've served for 3 years. If we don't know what our job is by now, we should all resign.
Well,
The thing is, we say it every year, we're gonna work with the budget committee, we're gonna work with the budget committee. The budget committee gives you something, and then we still end up right here. So that's, I mean, that's just an
but
unrealistic
Julie, are
precedent.
you're on the budget, can we come back together? Okay, Julie, Johnny, and Frank are on the budget committee. Are you for doing what the budget committee recommended this year right now?
The way that we were doing that was to get it to where we could just go on and move, and then we could go back in and all of us could start working on it.
If
Because
that's
because no matter what we would have done, it still had to go in front of council, it still had to be discussed with council, so that, in my eyes, that was just the kick of the ball to get the game rolled, like to get it all going. And so that's when we're here, but I don't understand why you want to quote unquote work with, because your ideas are gonna be different than Frank's, me and Frank have opinions that are different, very much so than yours, where it comes to nonprofits. You can't just say you want the council to do it, like, we all need to be in here doing it together, and I mean, one of the main things that I heard when all that kind of dropped out, that this is what the budget was coming out as, was this is council's budget and council didn't do anything with it. You can't use it then and then not use that line at another point.
I know, that's.
So I would rather us work on it and talk so much about feelings and emotions and get to where we're going.
Yeah, so let's, just to reiterate, so that, can I beg you for 50 cents on the city sticker?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
50 cents.
$50.
Oh, now.
I was for $50, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
for
trying to
$50.
compromise
Is there
with
anybody-
Richard.
Let's go ahead and nail these two things down.
Yes.
100 on court calls, $50 for city
Thank you.
sticker.
Yes.
Purpose of city sticker, increase TBD.
I agree.
Okay, so those, we got two things accomplished. We presented different ideas. I would love for our budget committee to take those ideas into consideration. And then, yeah, let's, I guess you have the next work. So we've got two major revenue items that we're in consensus on.
We'll get 2 days, because we'll have, the 23rd will be the call meeting, then we'll get another date down to do this, and we're gonna do that on the 25th, would be the,
And
no, the 25th would be the pre-agenda day, wouldn't it, anyone?
And you can go ahead and put
Yes.
those two things in place
No,
and vote
it
on
would
them.
be the second, because the first Tuesday of July is the 7th.
Okay.
Tuesday is the 30th. The last day of the month is a Tuesday, so.
That's it. I'm just
trying to get dates out.
We've got two big agreed on revenue items. I mean, that's, we're accomplishing something. Yeah, the tax rate, the property tax rate, rather, we've got time on that. And what I would ask of those of you who are in favor of increasing the property tax, my pushback is gonna continue to be that just throwing it into the general fund, we don't know where it's gonna end up. So if we could be more specific with where those monies can go, and I believe you have.
I was specific,
You had some specific, I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, because it's
We
gonna
can
be.
break that down in the ordinance on
It's
where
gonna
pennies
be
go.
my
And that's your
proposal.
Right. I would just like to be intentional about any proposing.
I agree.
That's my thing. If we increase, where's it gonna go? What is my assurance of at least a good
Yeah,
intention?
my proposal was gonna bring, at $1.90 was gonna bring in 6.8 million. 1 million was gonna go added to the police, 1 million was gonna be added to fire so that they could fix their fire stations that run down. Another million was gonna go to service, either debt, and the another 3 million would have been for capital projects that which could have been roads, could have been whatever.
Yeah, any-
Okay, Larry's next.
Could you tell me what the increase in revenue is versus in this new budget, and the increase in expenses?
Nathan?
The increase in revenue versus
I
the
know,
increase in-
expenses, I think we went,
Revenues first.
and what we presented, expenses went down.
So the expense, so do you want the revised budget or the
I
original
know where
budget?
we are right this second.
Okay, so, the 2026 revised budget is $104,035,000.
104 million,
35,000.
and what was the original budget on that?
you just told me you didn't want that.
Well, I'm
so
sorry, I thought you said the comparison.
Hang on. I'm sorry, I gotta click a different button to get.
Well, I thought you were talking about revenue and expenses and what those separate.
This is general fund, okay, so the 2026 original was 99,696, 99,696,000. Okay, now then my next question, how did we overspend budget $5 million? You just asked me about revenue, that was a
Okay.
revenue number.
Okay. Those are revenue? All right.
Yes.
Okay, now what are the expense numbers?
Give me just a minute now, here we go. Oh, that was expense, you're right.
Okay. That was expense, okay. Now, so we went, we budgeted 99 million, spent 104 million.
Right, the revised budget is $104 million, so that's
Okay.
the use of budget.
Right, so gotcha. Now, then, so what about revenues?
Revenues. So revenue, 2026 original was 96,331.
Okay.
The 2026 revised is 102,777.
So, and I'm not joking now, I'm serious. How did we overspend $5 million? I thought we had a computer system in that would not let us spend over what the budgeted figure in there
At the
was.
moment, we've spent $92 million of that $102 million.
That share, my thought on what you're getting at, I mean, so partly of the budget being a living document, we receive, insurance monies throughout the year, we receive grants throughout the years. There's a constant stream of monies that we recognize every single month, that is money that we did not originally have in the budget that we received for whatever reason.
Precisely.
And you have subsequent expenses with
So
it.
like, when we do a budget amendment, like, for example, the last time was recognize revenue and appropriate the revenue.
Right.
And so that goes to both revenue and expense increases.
And it impacts that
Yeah.
final amount of the Washington.
Are you saying all this is that? It's-
Yes.
Yeah.
Every budget amendment you voted on, there's.
I understand that.
Did we vote on any fund balance budget amendment since July?
Maybe one, I'm just saying that because I don't remember.
I don't recall.
Okay.
Yeah.
We gotta
Most
get back
everything's
on.
been neutral, it just has to be accounted for.
If there wasn't any fund balance changes, how could you show it in your total?
Are we adding it? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Are we adding the fund?
You're adding the revenue, not the fund balance.
Okay,
we
I'm
probably
gonna
had
say
additional
about another minute of this, and then we're gonna get back on track on how we're gonna fund payroll.
So we've got come in last year in revenue, $103 million.
That's what the budget is,
What do we expect there?
about $103 million.
Okay, now then, how much of this year's expenses under last year's expenses?
Ask me that again?
Well,
They
this
said
year's,
they went
this
down.
year's expenses, how do they compare to last year's expenses?
So we anticipate spending about $102 million this year. Last year, for 2025 actuals, we showed 96,598,
In 2027, you have budgeted,
99,786.
so less than what we spent in
Right.
2026. That was my comment.
Okay, so see if it looks like then we're gonna have a little more cash next year to play with than we're thinking.
That's the comment that that was brought up
I
earlier.
definitely think we will.
And so
but
that's
you
another
cannot
reason
say
not to
that.
make these decisions until we get some firm numbers.
Okay, but you know what?
We won't know that until we
Let's
close
don't-
this year.
Decision that we
let's-
make then.
Okay,
What we need, what we need to know.
we're gonna come back together and we're getting this done. So I allowed you that time, so I apologize, Larry, but we have a decision to make. We owe this to the people, our employees. We promised them a raise and we're not leaving here without deciding how we're doing it. And I apologize if I'm not frustrated, but I have taken this position because I want the best that we can do. So let's make a decision right now. Are we in agreement on the $50 sticker increase?
Absolutely.
Are we in agreement for $100 on the court cost?
Absolutely.
If you
Let's go on.
compromise with Julie and took the 114,000 out, you would still have 432. I don't even know where it is up there, I'm guessing, but that would go to fund balance. So if you needed to compromise and leave the engineer position in, we could still move forward with covering their raises, and then we set a date. And I want firm numbers, I want research, and I want how you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Hold on, I don't think that we need to keep the engineer position in.
Okay.
I'm for that.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna cut some, let's go ahead and let's get some other fat trimmed off and then go back and say, okay, this is how we're gonna rebuild.
Okay, can you be okay today with saying eliminate the engineer position and let's move forward with this to do these pay raises? Okay,
I'm fine. I know people are not always gonna agree with me, and I'm fine for us to not agree. So I'm just saying, if we're gonna do one, that's why I said that. But I'm totally in there with you on
I
that.
mean, there's approximately 600,000 in
it is.
recommended, expense reductions. So I mean, we're 150 away from the goal without touching the property tax. So I mean, you know, yay, nay, what are we missing, what else could we do? And that's,
The reason I'm so on the property tax is, okay, this year we're bringing up that sticker rate. This year we're going up and we're bringing up that court cost. We're cutting out a position. Next year, we're gonna bring up the sticker rate and the court costs and cut somebody else's position. That's why I'm trying to think big picture,
That's
like
right.
down the
Big
road.
picture
And
is,
so that's
you
why
gotta
I'm saying
You
maybe
gotta
we
do
don't
both.
restore it,
Yeah.
but we move that needle
We
a little
move it a little
bit.
bit because the thing is, we have said for 3 years, we're gonna do better, we're gonna do better. We're gonna meet, we've met with department heads. The department heads have come back to us and said, we've cut everything we can cut, there's nothing left to cut. I've said it for 2 years, and no offense, not to say, but I was right. We're gonna be,
Something in hand.
we're gonna be right back here again next year.
and if you're taking this conversation as just get through this year, I mean,
I'm not,
I'm screaming from the top of the mountain, we've got to do better. Like,
Yes.
we can't just
I
pass
think
a
we all
budget
are.
and then wait. So, I mean,
But I
that's,
think we've all got a different path to get there, but I think that we can all take something from our all individual paths, meet at that destination and get it done, but we can't just be scared about that tax rate. It's gonna take more than just the tax rate, more than the sticker, more than court costs, and more than cuts. It's gonna take a little bit of everything to do what we really need to do, not only for the revenue, but for our first responders, for employees, and for the city as a whole. And that's where I'm at, and I just wanna make sure that we are back in here within a week, trying to figure out, okay, we got this part done. Now let's get to part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right.
However many parts it is.
And Julie, I appreciate that, and I respect that. Can we at least go back to our agenda? We have to set those dates for the next vote.
Yeah, so I think the date, 10 days from public hearing, the public notice is the 23rd. Well, 22nd, we'll do the 23rd, and we'll do it on Monday.
So
Happy
tell
birthday.
us,
Happy birthday.
all right,
22nd, I'll be in court.
23rd.
Okay. I'll be in court with you guys.
We don't have to have the
Thanks,
public
Frankie.
hearing for the first reading. We can have it at the second.
Does it leave the public, it still have to be, oh, sorry, I'd rather do it first, just
Yeah,
say,
well, which means I gotta do an ad for the.
Hold on, the first?
no, the first reading.
Okay.
okay, so what is the date that's gonna be set?
23rd.
Okay, does everybody have that down there? And then also on the 2 things that we wanna do, can you have that written up so council can vote on that, to have that in place, so they can get their raises July
Well, that's gonna be part of the ordinance.
Okay.
We're gonna do the ordinance and then just continue to work. And so the 23rd is gonna be the first reading on the
Okay.
ordinance with city sticker and,
And
court
second
costs.
reading is when?
Well, it depends on who passed first. We'll say tentatively the 25th.
Okay.
Because it can't call a special call if we haven't had a vote on
Okay.
first.
Yes.
What time on the 23rd?
It's 9 o'clock work.
Yes.
Sure.
so what?
9 o'clock on the 23rd,
Yes.
What about tentatively on the 25th?
9 o'clock.
Yep, that's done.
I have all that.
Done and done.
And so the ordinance will be 3 ordinances.
9 and 9.
3 ordinances will be on the 23rd, if I'm right. It'll be budget, court costs, city sticker.
Got a bunch of budget amendments.
Yeah, and the other stuff, yeah.
All right, now, to Julie's, going back to Julie, looking to July for our next work session. Do you want, let's go ahead and plug that in there, but y'all, we can't do, I think we've done much better. I think we have moved forward, but we have to be better work. You've gotta get with Nathan, you gotta get a plan, and as Julie said, it has to be compromised.
But if you're not either you, Frank, Larry, Russ, and Ms. Wallace, if y'all aren't moving the needle at all on a property tax increase, there's no reason to meet again. We have this and that's what it is.
No, we need to go in here and do some cutting. So there are some other things that we need to do. But it's what's today, the 11th? Can we not go ahead and meet with the next week or the next week? And that way, by the time that we kind of get to July, we've got everything knocked out and maybe.
Revenue's right up there.
So you don't want to do your vote first and see how that goes and then?
I think we start working.
I think we do our vote, but we keep working.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
'Cause we
right.
can amend after that, but just get that.
Well, it's really hard for council members to go through and identify, potential expense savings. And that's again where I'm gonna go back to the idea that I want someone from outside of City Hall to help us with that. Cause I just, it's a lot for us as individuals, even for us as a collective, to go through and really get a good look at the departments.
Let's do some of the things that we could, that, you know, we all know that we've gotta look at. The nonprofits, let's look at some of that stuff, that we can do.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's, I threw in everything that I could come up with right now.
Without all this, that would be the next step anyway, to look at that, so.
And I just wanted us to have a session for more than 15 minutes for nonprofits.
I agree with that, but what I don't think is we need every nonprofit in here hollering at us about their
I don't
needs
think,
either.
no, I don't think.
No, we got their
can.
application, you got everything written
So let's
down.
go
It
through.
has to be like this. This is a working session and.
You all have those documents, right? They got-
Yes, it's been shared with you.
Yeah, and the new one that you just did for us, I
Yeah, I
want
can
that
share
one
that.
sheet sent to
Sure.
them, so they can just look at one thing, and then put the protected, whatever we're calling that,
We'll call it appropriations later.
appropriation
Yeah.
slash.
I will do that.
When can we do that, Marta?
18.
I'm down to clown, everybody else
Of
is.
what month?
I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong month, I think, hold on.
Yeah.
Hey,
18th of
Thursday.
next Thursday, yeah.
What time?
Okay, so we're gonna, alright, can I address what Russ said? In the audit committee bylaws state that we can ask for outside help. I was going to wait until next month before I brought that up, but it seems like.
Well, I mean, we can go ahead and get an RFP out, if we can get
Okay.
Zach on working on what the RFP
Let's
looks
do
like.
it.
Please,
Do that.
yeah, that's,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it's just, it's too, I hate to say too much, but for the life of me, I just don't know how to do it without some help from
1000% agree.
outside.
I've got goosebumps, but I didn't want to spring that on everybody out of respect for the audit committee and Miss Martha, but that's what we have to do.
You know, the best example I can give you is Shelby County Schools. There was some scrutiny.
That's right.
You know, spent 6 to save 6, 7.
That's right.
But you save 700,000.
That's right.
And then you have ongoing savings in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Okay,
should have
good.
done well. So something like that, but I mean, obviously we're not Shelby County Schools, but yeah, just.
And
We can get some RFPs, we can get some prices, and
Okay.
we can adjust from there.
Okay,
I would
so
love to
when
get
are we
some
meeting
help.
on the 18th?
What time do y'all want? I mean, 2
Yes, we
words,
do
3
2
words?
o'clock, 2 o'clock again.
June.
Now, you might
June.
want
Next
to,
Thursday.
is it Candace that can't meet, did you need to, is it Candace that can't meet on Thursday?
Well, we're gonna have to just do it. I mean, I'm not trying to, if it were me on the other end that couldn't meet, I'd expect y'all to go on with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
I,
2 o'clock.
y'all can start, y'all be late, I'm at a doctor's appointment that morning.
Let's do 2 o'clock.
Okay,
We've been
the
doing
18th at 2.
Okay, but
No,
I need
23rd
an
at 9.
objective.
23rd.
And the 25th is at 9.
25th.
Okay, I need
Okay.
an objective of what is to be accomplished on the 18th.
I would say the objective on the 18th.
It's
The
nonprofits.
first one would be to, review that, and then we go through nonprofits, at what level of funding will. get from
Okay.
nonprofits.
Agreed.
Don't leave.
Okay.
And then maybe we look at some of these contracted jobs that we got out,
Budget.
like Max Guard.
Yes, that's a big one of the
After the changes today.
contracts, because I worked with Nathan and Brian on subscription, and they got that pretty well buttoned up. But contractual services for our departments, that's a big one.
Yeah.
But
How
that's-
much is Manslaughter?
This year, it's gonna probably end up being about 96,000. And that's because we're adding 2 new sites starting Saturday. So that's gonna change it up to 135, 140,000.
It's probably cheaper to have an employee, just hire
Well,
someone, have one.
Okay, all right.
go ahead and put me down for another middle square. Nonprofits, what's the second thing?
The our contractual obligations, basically, like
Okay,
that are
who
doing
is looking
services.
at that before next Thursday?
What do you mean, who is looking at it?
We need to have the figures of how you wanna look at changing it, how we're going to do it, who's looking at it.
Can we get something that gives us maybe like a spreadsheet of what we're contracting out, like,
And which departments, Julie, be specific, so
well,
we
we know parks, because we know that there's it would
Okay,
probably be better
Christine?
off to give an
I would say
employee that
probably
was,
the best
or
thing to
even
do
two
would be
part-time
every
employees
department that
to
has
split
contractual
it.
services.
All right,
say-
y'all,
Which
everybody's
contract?
conversation is important, but it will go faster if we do it one at a time.
So I
Christie?
think, I'm sorry, I think what we can do is, and work with each department, as Ron said, with each department, and then we can have that contractual service, they can just provide that to us, each department, and this is what our contracts are, this is what the annual dollar amount is, and then what they do.
Could we have anything back from looking at a contractual service with an engineer, since we're gonna take out that?
Well, no, because it's on call, it says needed, and so we're gonna look at historical numbers.
Can we have those?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
And so that's why I pulled up the 44. 'Cause I think
Okay,
it's-
Nathan, that's yours.
You probably also have
What?
to do an RFP and RFQ.
Okay, let's get back together, then for the engineer, it's gonna have to be some historical work. So Scott, you're gonna make sure that the engineer historical work is taken care
Yeah,
of.
we'll have to figure out what year that was, I know at least a year, and just go back. and
Alex
look at
was
that.
here when we did the three, when we put it in place. Okay, so we have three things that we're gonna cover, and we're gonna meet Thursday at 2 o'clock. Nonprofits, we're gonna start with that. I suggest that you look through the documents, but I want you strongly to look at that one page and just see what we gave before and what is requested this year.
And then the applications too, so then you look at what they're doing, so you know what.
Yeah, you
what they're doing.
can dig further, yeah.
Can, do we have any more, Nathan? Hello?
Sorry, I was fixing to email Kelsey and tell her that she needs to put
Yeah, we
the
need another Celsius
projection
for Nathan.
into the main budget.
What about, Nathan, do you have any way to look and see if we have any other contractual obligations like Max Guard and any other departments?
This is, we're gonna have each department do that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna email them, the department, say, hey, give us your annual contracts, who they're with, what they are, annual costs.
Bugs, security, copiers, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, we have to pull from us, like, we have citywide.
Yeah.
What is that?
We can pull that.
I don't think we've done
pretty easily,
that.
yeah.
Some of it,
Audit
isolated.
and stuff like that as much
I'm not getting
as.
into it. There are some things that are contractual services, but it's a one-time thing that we do. You know,
Okay.
one time a year,
Like software.
like software.
Something we could put in employees.
Okay, so it sounds like IT, but I don't want us to get too broad. Y'all come up with
Here's
that.
what we'll do, and on our end, we'll get all of it, and then we'll go through what potentially could be.
Right.
And we'll still have the document of all of it in case you want to see it, but then we'll give you
These are action items.
Yeah.
And if you'll take my word for it, like I said, I asked Nathan and Brian about subscriptions, and they have what I felt was a pretty solid process. So I mean, you can kick IT subscriptions around and see what's in there, but
Part of going to Google is we eliminated a lot of them.
Well, I was referring to recreation management software,
Yeah.
like those kind of things that aren't IT.
Yeah, we'll just kind of, what we'll do, we'll get all of them, and then we'll filter it out, and then what we can take action on or potentially look at. Still have the original document, in case you want to see all that, we can provide that to you all, we'll see.
Okay,
So I don't think we're arbitrarily filtering something out, hiding something.
You all can look at the nonprofits, there's a sheet in there if they were requesting more than just a table. If you all would like for me to provide, I could get with somebody just to have one sentence of what that nonprofit does. Would that be helpful?
Yes.
Okay. I will probably ask Lauren Kirk to help with that. She has the most knowledge of all the nonprofits.
just, I'm saying that it's difficult for me to see a list of all we give to, and then an even bigger list of those we don't give to.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I feel like it's kind of all or nothing at this point.
And I did ask, because Lauren was the best asset that I knew to contact. She did not have a complete list. She had a list of those that they work with. So, but I think last count it was about 122 to 130 nonprofits in Jackson. So, okay, I wanna thank everybody because we did good work. It takes a team, and Johnny, we didn't get to hear from you, so would you like to close us out?
One thing I'm gonna say, we're gonna have to compromise, we're gonna have to come together. I mean, we've heard from the police department, fire department, and other departments have told them that they need. And we continue to have the same conversation, whether it's gonna be taxes, it's gonna be increased, whether it's gonna be other revenue, how we define it. But we're gonna still have to compromise and come together somewhere. I mean, I know some don't wanna do taxes, some don't wanna do this, but we're gonna meet in the middle somewhere, because we know what the needs are. And like I said, you don't like the word, but we continue to put it on the back burner, and they still suffering. And we've been saying this, so what are we gonna do? I mean, yes, we do the raises, but after then, we gotta come up with something that's gonna be concrete, how we're gonna bring revenue in. And we keep on still saying, we can't do it this way, but how we're gonna do it. And we don't know how many times, this in the last 5 or 6
Well,
meetings.
I do think in the last couple weeks, I hope that you all have appreciated that we've done better.
I mean, we did better, even, like $100 on the court costs. I realized we already in the hole collecting funds already from that.
Sure.
And you talking about, Frank said he don't wanna do the city sticker. You put $100 on these people, you ain't gonna collect nothing no way. I mean, we still gonna be in the hole because we're not gonna be able to collect the money like we're saying we are. Because you gotta realize half of the people that are committing crimes or doing things like that, they are committing crime for a reason. So I'm saying,
on the flip side of that, hopefully also works as a deterrent for people that are speeding around here and running through stop signs. I'm not pointing any fingers.
I don't look through a stop sign. I may bust over the speed bump. But I ain't walking through no stop sign.
We don't capture 100% of the property tax assessment, I mean, it's.
yeah, but you can't compare.
But it would be helpful if we could put them in installments and then people could go and do that.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Anything that can alleviate that burden, absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to come up with something, we have to compromise and come together. I mean, everybody, we get stuck that you don't wanna do this, but we gotta do something.
So can we vote to adjourn?
Can you send it to me?
Because I think we closed this out wonderfully.
We need to, I mean, you're right.
Preacher said amen.
How much it would cost for at least a month.
I want to ask you a thing.
Fire away.
Councilmember down there.
I'm going to bed.
So really, you need to replace everything.
Fire away.
Okay. Can you just text or email me?
We're sharper than you.